It's like the behind the scenes cam on like Mari or something. Like, we've got Chris in the back room right now. Like,
Here I am, Tom. Good to talk to you.
Oh, great to have you, buddy. We got a great show for you tonight. And why stop here? Let's just continue the bit. Welcome, everybody, to the 110th episode of the Party Invite Show. My name is Tegan. I'm joined by a full house today of Chris over here, Mr. Chairman Mao himself.
Oh.
Sovereign Sid.
hello.
My cat, far in the background that you can hardly hear, she's shouting, but she doesn't know that I've closed the door. And then our fifth and most important member, Vilos.
Is that how it works? Sure thing.
Yeah.
We'll go with that. Yeah.
And this is the first time the four of us have been on here in a good handful of episodes, so it's good to have everybody here. For anybody who's never checked this out before, here at Party Invite, we like to create a positive environment to discuss games. We sure do have a love of indie games, which we'll be talking about heavily on today's party topic, and honestly across the whole show with what we've been playing. But before we get to all of that, let's loosen up and get some smiles on our face a little bit. Let's talk about Blissin' Up, baby. I'll start off with that. Something that made me smile this week, and chat, feel free to chime in anywhere. I went to the Caroline Polachek concert that has been much awaited up here in Seattle. I was supposed to see her last year with Dua Lipa, and Caroline broke her ankle days before the show, like 2 days before the show. And I didn't know it until after Dua Lipa was already on stage, so that was a roller coaster of emotions. Dua Lipa was good, but I've been listening to Caroline Polachek for just so much over the past couple of years, and to finally see her at a show, especially one that she was headlining, was great. She came out with an album back in February called Desire, I Want to Turn Into You. It's great. I'm the kind of person who loves an album that is really a whole package. Not only does it have a bunch of singles on it, and a bunch of stuff in between, a wide variety, but it uses melodic themes from one song, puts them in another. It's got a reprise from one of the songs up here to the song back there. I love that stuff. I'm a big sucker for it. So the album's great. The show was great. I continue to believe that Seattle crowds at concerts are really weird, having been born and raised in Kansas City, where artists come through all the time and seem to talk a lot about how good Kansas City crowds are. They're like, wow, we didn't expect you guys to be, this energetic. And I'm, every time I'm like, yep, this is how we do here. It's great. Well, coming here to Seattle, dude, lots of people like to stand up in the front and just look at the artist and not really cheer or clap. Maybe they're smiling. I can only see the backs of their heads, but they sure aren't dancing. And it's weird. So if that's the norm for most of the country, the show was great, but the crowd, give me a Kansas City crowd every time. All I'm saying. But really enjoyed that. Lizzie and I had a blast. In fact, that's why we didn't do the show last week. I was at the show. So thanks everybody for taking a week off, but we're back even better than ever. So with the four of us, Chris, it's been a minute. Let's pop over to you. What's good, man?
The thing that made me smile was being on the podcast.
Hey, that's us.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Who are you again?
Oh,
who's this guy?
There's no short-term memory. Once you're gone for a few episodes, you can start all over.
My object permanence is shot now. Like once you get over 30, like you need that ginkgo biloba because like
it's like a 51st podcast situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited to talk video games. Been very busy at work down at the ship, so I'm working mostly every Thursday. That's why I am not on the show. But hey, this Thursday was free. Look how that worked out.
Oh,
at
hell
the
yeah.
Kadesh show last Thursday?
Yes.
Oh man, I wanted to go, but I was doing birthday things with someone special, my favorite person. So.
Sweet.
Hell
That's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, we've been busy down there. So just had draft weekend, which was crazy and extremely busy. And then Cinco de Mayo was the following weekend. So that's
so probably a slow, chill time. Nobody's
Super
going out.
chill.
Cold weather.
Very chill. Not a lot of people wanting to go out and do anything.
It checks out.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird.
Weird.
Yeah, that's great. I see. I like to watch the Kansas City forecast. Whenever I open my weather app, I see Seattle and Kansas City just so I can know. When I'm talking to most people I hang out with online, are from this place, it's kind of nice to like know what the hell's going on over there. So
Yeah.
y'all got the heat, and we're finally gonna start getting Seattle summer heat this weekend. It'll probably be in the low 90s, which around here is like horrible. I know, tell me about it, but at least you guys have AC. That's all I'm saying.
Definitely kicked in a little too early. We got too hot too fast.
Yeah.
'Cause it was that spring, that Kansas City spring was kicking ass.
Yeah, we hit
And it
90 like
lasted
Yeah,
a
once it
week.
crossed into the solstice or whatever, it was just like,
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. Well, I'm glad you guys are enjoying that. Glad you're enjoying music stuff. I'm jealous of the Kadesh show. And yeah, lots of outdoors activities and indoors, but yeah, lots of good stuff. Let's see, Vilos, or you know what, Sav, you mentioned doing some stuff. Let's hop over to you.
Yeah. So on top of all of the like Star Wars Day stuff that I ended up doing, and then on Cinco de Mayo I went to a birthday party, which was a Cinco de Mayo and Revenge of the Fifth combination party, which was super awesome.
Nice.
So there was like this huge Yoda green margarita pitcher, and I took some like grapes and put them on a toothpick and made like a little marg-teeny like Yoda thing.
As you do.
It was so good. And I was for half the party I was dressed up as Rey. It was really good. You can see pictures on Twitter of that party. But then on Wednesday this week, I went to go see the Dungeons and Dragons movie because it is leaving theaters. Honor Among Thieves with Chris Pine and all the other people that are there and are important, which was really good preparation for this Saturday. I'm going to a Fae Run fashion show, which is D&D fashion show. And that's going to be happening at the pop-up bar that's around here near the Harrah's. So every time they, I think every month or so they switch their pop-up thing. And this month is Bob Burgers. So we're going to be having a Dungeons and Dragons themed fashion show in the middle of a Bob's Burgers pop-up bar. So it's going to be a really interesting.
Did you call it Bob Burgers on purpose?
Did I say Bob Burgers?
You did.
Bob Burgers.
That's what Teddy calls the name of the
Bob
restaurant.
Burgers.
In
Bob
the show.
Burgers.
Bob's like, Teddy, what do you think the name of our restaurant is? It's Bob Burgers. What are you talking about, Bob?
Oh, that was completely unintentional.
That's good.
Yeah.
Be on the lookout for pictures of my character though, because my favorite person and I are going there, and we have characters, and it's going to be awesome.
Oh,
And
hell yeah.
part of my character is that I'm like this aquatic moon elf person thing, and I have it's based on my Cancer zodiac sign, which is represented by the crab. So I have this. Does anyone recognize this?
A Kabuto, maybe.
So I made a tweet, like a really cryptic tweet a couple weeks ago that said, I spent half of my life searching for something that I didn't know if it was real or not, if it ever existed. And somebody made it real this year. And I was gifted it. It's the locket from Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest.
Oh,
And
when she
not
throws
only
it into
is
the ocean at the end, 84 years or whatever.
Mr. Sir.
You, am I doing this right?
So not only is it the locket, it's an actual music box. So
What? Copyright strike.
no, it's just different enough. There's a couple of extra notes in there. So literally when I received this gift, I actually cried on the spot. It was really emotional. Yeah, because literally 17 years since the movie came out, I was looking for a music box replica of Tia Dalma's pendant, and
Pretty rad.
now I have it. So that's my life quest complete that I have listed in the docs, because now I got my Anastasia music box and I got my Tia Dalma music box.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's the good stuff.
And that's it. Listen up.
Listen up. Well, we're blissing up. Man, that put a smile on my face. That's really endearing.
And it came in this really cool bag, which matches the outfit of the character I'll be playing on Saturday. So really convenient.
All right, that bag's pretty cool. That's dope. Well, yeah, I'm happy for you. All right, Vilos, what's good, man? Do you play any more Xavier Nelson Jr.?
Not this week.
I was hyping him up the other day on the stream.
I can't follow the goodness that was Sob's thing. Yeah, as far as my glisten up goes, nothing crazy, but I got this.
Ooh.
This is pretty sexy.
That perp.
Yeah,
It's
so
purple.
It's
this
purple.
this is definitely easily the best color of DualSense controller, and I did find out that I could use it on my Switch by using the little 8-bit do. Let's see if I can zoom. By
Zoom?
getting, oh my god, the other way. There we go. Okay, the little 8-bit do controller adapter for the Switch. It's like $20 or $25, and I've had it literally forever since it released, and I actually have not been using it for anything because you can actually use it on PC or Switch. And yeah, I was able to use the DualSense on my Switch to just fuck around YouTube and maybe play some Xenoblade or something. But yeah, it's my precursor to getting a PS5, and that's what I'm actually most happy about when it comes to.
I love that we
me
live in
getting
a
it.
world where
So-
it's even possible for you to buy the controller first and then get the console.
Why couldn't Nintendo do that with the Wii U? Like, so many people want the tablet separately.
Yeah. And that said, though, the DualSense, like, the tech is really fucking awesome, obviously, but like $75 for a controller, just
Yike.
that hurts.
Right?
Like, that really, really hurts. I've definitely not paid that much before. My
It's a lot of
Xbox
money.
controller is a special one, but it's like it was still $60.
Yeah.
75 was a whole new ball game. But yeah, I'm getting potentially too psyched to end up playing Final Fantasy 16 on PS5. It's in the works.
If you think those controllers are bad, try buying an Elite controller. Or
yeah, nah.
you know.
You mean like this? This iridescent purple? Ooh, I don't know why. Okay, get the purple on there. Why is it the blue?
Definitely
Well,
blue. Oh, when you angled it, it looked
yeah, it's
There
like
you
some
go.
kind of something.
it's like purple iridescent blue color
Yeah.
shifting. Like,
Yeah,
it's
like-
that one that they announced, and immediately I was like, "Who loves me enough to get this?" So
Yeah,
that's 2 for 2, I guess. Right now, the music box and the controller.
yeah. My phone absolutely would not take an accurate picture of this controller. Like, the color just, it doesn't work. It
Purple doesn't
absolutely
exist. Like the
Yeah.
the light behind me is actually green. Sorry.
So sorry. But yeah, looking forward to getting a PS5 in the near future. I'll probably buy the stupid $100 deluxe version of Final Fantasy 16 just to feel the burn extra and regret potentially, but
As you
hopefully
do.
not.
Are you even gamer if you don't buy the $100 Founders Pack? I feel like I've been kind of preaching that the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely typical. But I mean, I spent. Oh my god, I spent $400 on Xenoblade this year.
LOL.
Those swimsuits better be laced with platinum.
It just hit me real hard because I spent $180 to get the Japanese soundtrack, and it's still 2.5 months away.
Can you say that you spent what?
It was 185 for the Japanese Trinity, the Trinity box, which is soundtrack for all 3 Xenoblade
I
games.
could go to like 4 Caroline Polachek concerts for that price.
That's true. That's true.
But then that would be one experience, not one you have forever.
That's true.
His Xenoblade Chronicles Japanese soundtrack is yours. Your what was her name again?
Wabajack.
Wabajack.
Yeah, the good thing is it's 20 CDs. So like
Holy
when you
shit.
think of it that way, you're like, okay, that makes sense, right? So
Okay,
it's
Like
like
what, $60 per CD?
it's supposed to be like a box like this big, I'm pretty sure, and it looks like a thing from the games, and like literally
That's wild.
12 or 13 years worth of soundtracks that are not available on like streaming services and shit. So yeah,
Oh,
it'll be
okay.
worth it.
Well,
Oh, it's like
It
the
will be.
entirety of Xenoblade.
Literally, yeah,
okay. That's pretty
all of
good.
it,
That's pretty cool.
all the music. Yeah.
They released that on vinyl for $1,000,000,000.
No, they literally made the most obscure fucking Japanese website that I'm probably going to end up paying like $40 to like random import shit. But
Oh no.
supposedly the US is not supposed to pay for it, but I bet I get something.
Yeah,
for
well,
So like I googled it
FedEx
and it does
or
look
whatever.
really cool. I
Yeah.
can't see what's inside of the box, but the outside of the box looks really cool.
Yeah, we literally got a PNG of concept art of the box.
And that's what it looks like. It looks like low poly.
Like, it looks like the lowest poly shit. The actual box is gonna be great, but like,
oh my goodness.
Mhm.
We'll see
it's
if
like this guarantee.
later after the show, I'll see if I can pull up a picture there so we can all look at it in its glory. Okay, well that does sound pretty dope. So I am happy for you there. Well, speaking of physical things, because it has news that I will save for after Chris has talked about it. Let's hear about Jedi Fallen Order, which the thing we'll revisit is that the physical edition is like not good. The physical edition is just a code. It's bad. Anyway,
how is that even physical?
Exactly, but we'll save that for later. Chris, Jedi Fallen Order just came out. Or no, Jedi Survivor just came out.
Yes.
Which is really the one I meant with the physical edition, not
That's what
Fallen
I
Order.
I was like, what?
Jedi Survivor just came out.
Yes, correct.
In the last week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think last week, because I think
Last week.
it and Redfall both came out.
Yes.
And the mixed reception from both of those, even though I've talked to people who've also liked those games, the mixed reception in the AAA space is a lot of what inspired us to our indie party topic today. But people were hyped about those games. They had high expectations because of games like, their predecessors of Jedi Fallen Order. So, tell us about that, Kristen. Is this the first time you ever booted it up? I mean, your current playthrough. I mean,
so I had been listening to stuff on Jedi Survivor, and people really liked it. They said that it was a little buggy on PC, but they played it on PS5 or whatever, or an Xbox, and it was fine. They didn't have any problems. So I know they've addressed that stuff and they're working on it. But yeah, so I heard good things about that, and I was like, oh, well, maybe I should give Fallen Order another try, because it's just free for PS Plus monthly, like not this month, but a couple months ago or something like that. So I downloaded it, started playing it on PS5, and it's good. It's really good. I'm very much enjoying it. It's pretty short, it feels like. Or I guess it feels sort of like a... it's very God of War. It's like, hey, you like God of War? Yes, I like that. Do you sort of are interested lightly in Dark Souls, but you don't really want to play those because they are too difficult? Then boy, do we have the game for you. Jedi Fallen Order.
it was a long pitch, but they get
Yes.
You're only in the elevator for 1 minute, and you got it out.
No, because like sometimes the elevator hangs because it's an old building. Anyway, it's a longer trip than you think it is. Anyway,
that's where they hide the loading screens. Anyway, sorry.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, I'm really liking it. I really like how on each of these planets there's like a tomb that you're going through that feels very Zunda Delgin-esque or Dungeon-esque with a lot of
Zunda
puzzles.
Delgin-esque.
Delgin.
That sounds like some I'd say.
Because I was thinking of
Classic
puzzles at the
Zunda.
same time, and like just words got mixed up.
That's
We should get more Dulgins in games, though.
Yes,
Let's make sure we do that.
Yeah.
Write that down. But yes, the dungeons are very cool, or tombs, and every one that you do basically gives you like a new cool Jedi power, and the puzzles are interesting. None of them are like too crazy difficult. They're always just kind of, let me stare at this for a second, and run around and try to figure out what they're asking me to do. Like, how am I going to get through this doorway or whatever? But yeah, it's really cool. I like the exploration of it. I was getting like Zelda-y vibes from some of the puzzles, because it's like pull this round ball over here kind of thing, and you're using the Force to do it. Excuse phrasing.
I'm just like, I mean, keep doing it. Keep going.
Sometimes you pull or push balls around. Are you familiar with this practice? Anyway. But yeah, it gave me a lot of like similar Breath of the Wild stuff where you're like moving those cubes around in the shrines. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm nearly done with it. Like I said, it's not that big of a game. It's like 20 hours or less if you just straight run through. But finding some of that secret stuff is interesting. It's all cosmetic, like fun stuff that you get, and some of it'll give you like increasing your stamina or your health by finding a bunch of those secret things. But yeah, it's cool. And guess what? It was free on PlayStation Plus.
Hell yeah.
It was one of the monthly free ones, and so I snatched it up. I just always add all that shit to the library, because eventually you're going to be like bored like I was and be like, huh, what should I be playing right now?
That's literally the reason I still have PlayStation Plus, even though I haven't touched my PS4 in like
A long time.
a really long time. But like the instant that I let my PS Plus subscription lapse, I lose access to all of those games that I have in my library, which are cool games. I just, never.
Yeah, but I mean, you do get them back if you re-up your sub.
Wait, you do?
Yeah. It's tied to your account. So even if you went off,
just like
I wasted so much money.
so yeah, you have to activate it to be able to claim whatever is available that month, because you can't just pay for like 1 day, log on, activate it, and then cancel your sub.
Yeah.
But yeah, as long as your subscription is activated or reactivated, you will have everything that you've ever added to your library from that collection.
You just have to make sure you go and add it to your library.
Yeah, don't have to
That it's
download it. Yeah, the other day they were like, hey, a bunch of stuff's leaving.
And you go add it to your library now.
For good, and Lizzie went in there and was like, ooh, oh, sweet, look at all this stuff, I gotta grab it. And then she realized that every single thing that she wanted, she had already previously added to her list. So she's like, well, whenever I actually do want to play those, there they'll be.
Yep.
But
Yeah, honestly, it's such a great system now.
I mean, it is nice. Yeah, I never thought I'd be such a big fan of games as a service, but here we are. And it gives me access to a very wide variety of games, big and small, that I probably wouldn't grab onto, by themselves.
And hey, they've been doing they putting out good games in those monthly free ones lately. Not so much this month, but the last couple months they've been doing
This
really
time it's different, but don't look.
Well, because so the problem is they were on a really good run for a couple months there, and everybody just starts guessing what it's going to be, and you're like, no fucking way are they going to do that. And then, rumors start popping off, and they start gaining traction of, oh, we hear that it might be seafood this month, and you're like, whoa, okay, all right. And then it's not that. It's something less than that.
Yeah.
So it sounds like what's happening in the PlayStation realm is something that's been being dealt with in the Nintendo realm for like the last, I don't know, ever. Because anytime a direct would come along, oh my God, what if we get this news? Oh, we're going to get this news. And then, we don't get the news. And then they're like, Nintendo, blah, blah, blah.
Dude, literally every direct, it was like, bruh, is this the Breath of the Wild 2 one? And people said that for like 2 whole years, at least.
The Smash ones were the worst.
Yeah.
And look at that. It's out soon.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
really?
In a couple of hours, actually, I think.
Yeah, it's very soon. For anybody out there who is interested in chatting about that stuff, but wants to be delicate with spoilers, join our Discord, discord.gg/partyinvite show. Get a link in chat here. Go chat about it. It's a nice, safe space to be able to talk about that stuff. But things will be marked with spoiler tags and all that good stuff. So you don't have to worry about seeing stuff that you don't want to. Let's see, Chris, we'll come back to you for your other game. What if we bounced over to Sav here? Sav, all I'm saying is, be aware of your time. I know you have a lot you're excited to talk about this week. With 4 of us, it's really easy for us all to get carried away. So, let's see here.
It all started when I was a child.
In the beginning.
In the beninging. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and lead with Splatoon 3 because it was the most relevant thing that happened, this weekend outside of all the things I talked about in Bliss and Up. So Splatoon 3 recently and we were just talking about Zelda. They had a Splatfest that tied in Tears of the Kingdom to Splatoon 3. That was the Splatfest, and it was, of course, the Tricolor Splatfest. So you could choose between the 3 elements of the Triforce: Power, Wisdom, or Courage. I, of course, was on Team Wisdom because first of all, I got to support my girl Fry, and second of all, Zelda. Hello.
Hello.
But unfortunately, Team Wisdom didn't end up winning. We lost to Team Power because Nintendo made the ever so strategic decision to post the biggest thirst trap of Ganondorf we've ever seen, the rehydrated Ganondorf splash art, the official splash art, and everybody was just like, oh my God, we got to have some of that Ganondorf.
He deserves that W. That's what they all said. That's not my view.
That's what the
You
people
made me come
say.
over there. You're already on my radar for that controller. You're just digging it deeper. But no, it was a lot of fun. I even got one of the wisdom, like the actual Splatoon short board team wisdom, which I wore, as you could see on the stream, in my video there. I cosplayed as Fry because I haven't in a while, and I thought it would be really appropriate to do that with the special edition Splatfest going on. And I had to redeem during my stream so that I would, like, if people redeemed their channel points, I would do like the Splatfest dance like I did when I first iterated the Fry cosplay. So that was a lot of fun because a lot of people forced me to dance. And I was super out of breath during that whole stream, but it was cool. I don't know. I mean, I don't really have a lot to say about Splatoon, like, because I always talk about Splatoon, and Splatfests really aren't that different across the board, except for what you're like rooting for. But this one was really special because like there was a whole collaboration with The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, they had the shirts and a lot of the art that came out of it in the overworld was like really, really good.
The map?
Like the
Right?
Is that what
Oh, you're talking about the Triforce map. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. So it was a flawed map, coming from Splatoon 2, which had Marina designing all of the wonderful stages, and each one was unique for every Splatfest, which was awesome. They each had a different gimmick that you had to master on the fly, and then you could also go back and play those after the Splatfest ended. You could do that in like multiplayer lobbies that you could do. This one had a special map on Scorch Gorge. It had been outfitted with a Triforce. Oh, you see right there in the video, a Triforce shaped map. So when it comes to Tricolor Wars, it's 3 teams against each other. Well, it's 2 teams comprised of 3 teams. Does that make sense? And so you have the defenders, which are 4, who are in the lead of the Splatfest, and then you have the 2 attackers, who are the trailing teams of the 2 different colors. So all of the balance in that is like, it was really unbalanced because the defenders had a super strategic high point that they could just hold forever from. I've seen people win as much as by 70% on there. But yeah, it was a fun map. I liked the idea. I think it could have been balanced a little better, but it was definitely a lot of fun to play on. And a new feature that they added this time around too, that you can actually see on the stream right now, is if you win a times 100 or times 333 battle, which multiplies the amount of clout that you get by those respective numbers. And clout is what determines, who wins the Splatfest and everything. You get to be on the concert float with the idols of Deep Cut. So since we had won a times 100 battle, you can see me going on the float here and posing with the teammates that were responsible for that.
Hell
and then
yeah.
there's like an announcement that happens and all that stuff.
This
and of course,
rules.
It's the best. It's the best iteration of the Splatfest that we've had so far because that float feature, first of all,
this is
amazing.
awesome. This is great. I love it's a whole production.
The concert that you're watching right now is always visible, but they recently added a photo mode, which means you don't have to sit there and hold the trigger button to zoom in on them. You can actually just enter the photo mode and, watch and take pictures of whatever you want, which is really cool. So that's what I'm using here right now because somebody had just redeemed the Splatfest dance function. And so I'm actually dancing along with the concert there.
Yeah, let's check this out. This is so cool. So this just happened. I'm suddenly very interested in this. Vilos, just ignore that. Don't worry. This is I don't know who's controlling the camera here on the stream. This is cool. This reminds me of in Apex Legends with the party barge that you could fight on, where it's like, you've got all these characters in here, but it just has all this skirt. We should restart that. It just has all this flavor to it, right? All this personality. That's like, hey, this game isn't just the mechanics that you do. It's this whole jovial vibe. Big fan. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah, they really wanted to, I think, up the atmosphere of the whole Splatfest vibe, and I think they succeeded with flying colors. I mean, literally with flying colors.
Literally
flying everywhere. Like
Literally.
That's good stuff. So you were in there because they had that wisdom, power, and what's the third one? Intelligence? Courage. Of course it's courage. Man, how embarrassing. Zelda was like my first franchise I ever loved, and I can't remember anything. Yeah, so they did the promotional thing. Do you think they'll do something like this again, or is this truly like a one-shot?
Well, it's not the first time that they've done like a collaboration like this. It's the first time they made a special map for it, but they've collaborated with Nickelodeon a lot. Like they've done a SpongeBob versus Patrick sort of affair. They did a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one that lasted over 2 Splatfests because it was like a tournament almost. So it started out with like Leo versus Raph, and then this was in Splatoon 2, so there are only 2 teams to choose from. So it was Leo versus Raph, and then Mikey versus Donnie, and then whoever won that, those two, the finals would be, whoever versus whoever. And I can't remember the results of that, but I think this is the first time they've gone so far into the collaboration to like make the special map and release the special shirts and all that whatnot. Because they do release Splatfest shirts every so often. Viewers of the podcast will remember we wearing the mushroom and the star shirts. Then they also had the Final Fest shirts as well. But these ones are like super duper, I don't know, really cool because Legend of Zelda, and it has really awesome art on the front and back of it. So I think they might still even be available if you have like a My Nintendo account. And the coins. No, you can actually just shop from the store, not the coins. You just use real money, and I think you can actually get them. Yeah.
Nice. Do you want to take another one, or do you want to bounce to somebody else? It's up to you.
Let's bounce.
Okay, then let's see. Vilos, let's hear what you've been playing. You're always playing lots of stuff, familiar or new. What do you got this week? You got another one under your belt, huh?
Yeah. So, over the last couple of weeks, I did finish Xenoblade Chronicles 3's Future Redeemed.
Oh!
So the entirety of Xenoblade 3 is done. Yeah.
Big deal around these parts.
But actually, like, it was definitely impactful to me, and we talked about it on the last pod a little bit, but it's just a whole thing. It was great. I have plenty of words for it.
How many hours was it?
Actually, for being Wave 4 DLC, I put, I think, 32 hours into it. For DLC. Actual game time, you can actually get it, you could complete it in like 16, 17 hours, I think it was, on average. But yeah, I did everything in that DLC.
Now, when you say everything...
Everything.
Yeah, so you actually, if you complete the game, you can actually get Rex and Shulk in the main game of Xenoblade 3 if you beat them in a challenge mode thing, which is a little tougher than usual. So yeah, if you want the daddies, you can get them in main Xenoblade 3.
I don't know why I just got a little hot in here. Just don't.
Oh yeah, worth 100% worth. But actually, I actually wanted to talk about Fire Emblem Engage tonight because I finished that as well.
Odysseus said R.I.P. my headphones when I did that, so I'm going to be a little more gentle, but
So yeah, Fire Emblem Engage. I do have a video here to play.
You betcha.
I finished it after it came out January 20th. I really wanted to just binge the hell out of it and get it done in that last few days of January, but that sure as hell didn't happen. So as you can see here, the whole Engage thing is awesome because this character that you're seeing on screen does not look like that in any other way, shape, or form.
Yeah, isn't that Colgate-chan?
Yeah, so that there is
this sponsored
Etier.
by Colgate? What is this?
Yeah. That character is Etier, and the Engage mode basically attaches a character to a prior Fire Emblem hero.
A prior emblem.
Yeah, and miners. I hate that.
Chris was tickled.
So, as you can see, this is technically accidentally a spoiler because I didn't pay attention to it. But for some reason, the main character of the game is an emblem during this battle. I don't know why. I could explain it, I guess. But an emblem is kind of like a spiritual version of a prior emblem, as you said.
Uh-huh.
And so...
He said the thing!
Roll credits!
Yeah. And so the design of the character just improves dramatically. Like, they're absolutely gorgeous, colorful, like, it's ridiculous. As you can see, Alir, again, is the hero that Etier there is melded with. And it not only buffs the hell out of that character, but it also, like, Etier is an archer. And so, obviously, in Fire Emblem, that's a very specific thing. Like, if you're an archer, you can't attack anybody that attacks you within a certain range. And you can't really defend yourself if somebody is at close range hitting you.
Yeah, I've played Chivalry, I know.
As well.
You just if somebody runs up and your bow's out, just cry, just give up.
Yeah.
For the order.
And so that originally was a Fire Emblem thing, and it's always been the case. And so with her, when I was able to engage with a leader, it gave her I don't remember the exact weapon, but I think it was a rapier style sword. And Etier was able to change from an archer to being a sword wielder and just bashing the shit out of whatever she came across. So finishing the game was a wild ride. The story was more anime than Fire Emblem has ever been. And the only thing that I didn't do, and I need to go back to it, is I didn't do the one stupid chapter because I didn't realize that was the case. You have to do what's called a paralogue, which is not an absolutely necessary thing in the game. It's a usually pretty tough fight, and if you get this particular item, the packed ring, then you're able to get your number one support character to an S rank and actually see whatever relationship you're going to have with them. So that's the one thing I missed from this game.
How good is your relationship? Oh, I'm rank S, and the S stands for super.
Absolutely.
It seems like it's S first. Seems like you need to get to triple S and continue the story quest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I heard they added an S rating to Starfall because you can have a super time with your friends with the jetpack on, according to all the clickbaity headlines. So.
Absolutely super time. Unfortunately, there is no super times in Fire Emblem Engage, but there are so many really fun support conversations that are very flirty and very like they literally tell your character Alear like the whole time. They're just like, "Wow, you are so pretty. You are so gorgeous." Like if getting compliments is your thing, just fucking play Fire Emblem Engage. Like you're gonna be eaten for days.
Hey, can I borrow that from you?
Oh no, you'll enjoy it. The character options are fantastic. There's a billion great characters to play as and
I mean, I'm all about that. My girl Tamara.
So fun. Yeah.
Odie's still waiting on me to cosplay her.
Tamara is super cute. She's a princess that maybe ends up as a queen. I don't know. I accidentally let her brother die in the final battle, but not my fault.
Wow.
Not my fault.
A princess to queen who's an only child and also is rich, dark-skinned. That sounds familiar.
To be honest, though, like it was really not my fault because this actually is one of the cheapest games in the Fire Emblem series as far as just overwhelmingly dumb battles sometimes. Yeah,
at least they don't have permadeath, so no big deal.
Well.
I mean,
did Vilos play on casual mode? No, he didn't. No, he fucking didn't. And I actually lost only like 3 people in the final battle. But
was the dancer one of them?
Oh yeah, I
actually lost, or whatever. I
actually lost. What is his name? It is C something.
Was there a third character that Sav might like because did they die too?
Yeah, like hello.
Actually, a lot of the hot boys were gone at that point. All the armor dudes.
Oh, so this is what you were just trying to claim all the waifus for yourself.
That's pretty much what happened. Yeah. I had my archer chick. I had my my general swordmaster, who was just like the cutest thing ever. I had a martial artist that was super cool, and she was literally just like comboing and critting everybody on the face of the planet. But yeah, it's a really fantastic game. A lot of great characters in this. Actually, maybe better characters than Three Houses for me. But at the same time, it's just not as deep of an experience because anime actually hurt it for me in this regard, which is funny.
Yeah, it seemed like it went super duper like Chosen One pro tag.
It was a little silly.
It was almost like an isekai, almost.
Yeah. Let's just say that good guys become bad guys. Or sorry, no.
Spoilers.
Good guys become bad guys become good guys, and all of them actually happen that you predict, except for the ones that you kill because you have to fight them like 3 different times. So at the end of the day, it's like very predictable story, but it is fun. but I think it is the first Fire Emblem that ends up in outer space. So there's that. If you need it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Again, very anime.
Xenoblade, I can see Xenoblade doing space stuff, but Fire Emblem in space, that's like, wow, the 8th season of Game of Thrones was weird when they went to space.
It really was, though.
It really took off. You could tell the writers were on strike.
Like, spoiler, I mean, it's not even really a spoiler because it's like, how the hell do you get there? But, like, literally the bad guy we find out is an alien. Like...
It's
a wow.
Oh my god, let's get back here.
That's what it feels like to get pulled into the alien ship.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But it legitimately happens, and you were just taken to outer space in the final battle. I don't know. It is fun. It's very fun. It's still worth the money. I don't regret getting the fucking Divine Edition for $100. It's still worth it.
Does it come with soundtrack? Oh,
it came with a book and a poster, and I got tarot cards for the pre-order. I don't know.
Now,
it is what it is.
Is it the kind of book that you read the articles for? Wink, wink.
Well, it's a thick art book, so yeah.
It's a super art book.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Ooh, articles. Let me just.
Well, let's see. Then let's rotate. I'll talk about what I played this week. I revisited a 1.0 release of a familiar title. Darkest Dungeon 2 finally had its 1.0 drop on Monday. So on our Monday night roguelike stream, we loaded that up. We got our butts kicked because I took on basically the toughest challenges I possibly could as early as I could just to see what would happen. This game's fun. This game's rad. I'm enjoying it. I'll say the same thing that I often say when comparing this to the first game. Darkest Dungeon 1 and 2 are both very different games. They have a lot of similarities where if you moved from one to the other, there's a lot of knowledge that would cross over, like your character's abilities. But the overarching infrastructure of the game is quite a bit different. This is much more of a roguelike. This is a run-based game. You start with a team, you're going to go as far as you can, hopefully you'll get to the mountain, which is where the Darkest Dungeon is, and you'll do whatever needs to be done there. I've only gotten to the mountain early in early access, so I don't actually know what that looks like now. I know that you get to the end, something happens, you can be successful in that, and you'll unlock further quests almost. You start, there are like 5 story chapters, I guess, and I've only ever seen the first one, so I'm not really sure what's going to be behind door number 1, but I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, this game has us going until we drop. You're almost guaranteed to die, to have your characters lose. So the pro to that is that while this game has a wide variety of characters, what you do is you start off in your caravan with 4 people, which are lined up in whatever order you choose. You can see I've got 4 on the left. They've got 3 on the right because that middle guy takes up 2 spaces. I'll zoom in here. Yeah, you can change a bunch of your character stuff, look at their stats, give them trinkets or items to use in combat. And so they're going to try to help each other, and through their combat and the stuff in between, you want to make them friends with each other because people who are friends with each other survive much, much longer. They help each other out. Sometimes, like one of my characters here, the highwayman, has a riposte ability. So anytime he gets hit, he swings back. It's great. It deals a huge amount of damage. But what the characters will do, because I played this on Monday and on Wednesday, is when they have a good relationship, a few of my characters became respectful of each other, which is just great. We had a very respectful party. It was very wholesome. So what they'll do is sometimes when they're respectful to each other is when one person is attacked, they, will take whatever damage they're going to take, but then that other person that they like will come in and they'll basically do a riposte attack. And you don't always know when it's going to happen. It doesn't happen every time. But it makes a huge difference. It means you're just getting all these extra attacks. Sometimes they'll come in and they'll completely block or make the character dodge to avoid damage altogether. Sometimes they'll use some sort of other ability, give your they'll yell out some battle cry or compliment or something, and somebody will get a really nice buff. You are managing a health bar and a sanity bar at all times. Having your health bar go low is bad, but having your sanity bar go all the way up is worse. Having your sanity go all the way up, 10 out of 10, is a 0 out of 10 experience. You are almost guaranteed to have a meltdown. Your character will lose a ton of their health. They will lose a bunch of their relationship status with people, so they'll be unfriendly. And that's really bad. When people are unfriendly to each other, it's horrible because it's basically like you have an extra enemy on the battlefield at all times. So what they've done by making this more of a run-based game is you have candles that you collect. It's a rogue light. Imagine like Hades or something where you collect darkness that levels you up across all of your runs. It means no matter how far you did or didn't get, you will walk away with more candles, which allow you to permanently upgrade your ability to discover powerful items. So you can unlock more characters, you can unlock more trinkets, you can unlock a whole bunch of stuff. There's so very much. So the more you play, you're automatically guaranteed to have more success. So these first couple runs I've done on stream, I really just threw myself at it, and it went pretty well. But yeah, I could tell you all sorts of stuff. But check out this artwork in here. Let me zoom. Check out this guy, this big knight. I'm in this area called the Tangle. That's like a forest with undead soldiers in it. And so it does this wonderful thing of combining like zombie ideas and all that stuff with the idea of this forest reclaiming all these battlements and the soldiers themselves. So like that guy I just killed on the screen there had these like wooden antlers sticking out of his helmet. And a bunch of these characters do. This whole faction does. But here, let's go. It's going to start this boss fight. I went into a lair, which is a 3-part dungeon. It's like a proper dungeon that always has a boss at the end. You can leave after each round of combat. You don't have a chance to like heal, to stop combat and like add, equip new items and stuff or change your abilities. But if you stick around, you get huge rewards. So the boss that we fight here is this wonderful, grotesque, giant soldier, practically the mountain from Game of Thrones, but with a huge thing through him. Look at him. He's got a massive, basically a tree growing through his chest. Okay? Check this out. This is gross. And so he moves like he attacks you, but really the roots that are tangling him up, it's messed up. It's gross. And I love
This
it.
concept kind of reminds me
I
of what were they called from Monster Train? The Awoken, right?
Yeah, the plant people.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of that concept. And that had some really cool enemy, or it wasn't enemies because they were on your side, but like unit concept as well.
Yeah.
So this is really neat. And I love me some plant magic. I'm over the zombie bit, but I mean, I think I can make an exception this time around.
It's pretty cool. And I know there's other stuff I haven't seen out there. I mean, I've seen most of the enemies here. They have added new entire areas, so there's not a lack of content since the early access period. But this is cool. This guy ends up, like, technically I walked away, but I'm just going to fast forward through here. This guy messed me up because this vine in the back behind him brings down these vines from above my characters. Oops, I keep messing up the camera. And when they get low enough, they completely paralyze my guy. So they cannot move, they cannot attack or heal. All they can do is whisper, dark whispers to my team where everyone goes a little bit crazier. It's great.
That sounds like it's totally fair.
It was
That
rough.
reminds me of what was that game? The dungeon crawler kind of game that we played, the strategic one, where I played the character who like she found something in a tree and then she turned evil and then what was the
Wildermyth.
game? Yeah, that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's it's got these nice elements where you're like walking around, you've got your squad. Sometimes there'll be unexpected results of like you did something and this person hated it or this person loved it. Now you're friends. But we fought this guy. We technically walked away, but only with 2 people. So we get out of here. I mean, look, my team's pretty messed up. So we get out of here. Let's fast forward to the final fight. So look, you've got a caravan that has some new mechanics. Are basically if all things are good, then you'll start battles with a buff. There's a little more. It's a little more complicated than that, but that's really enough. But your carriage can be attacked, and if it's attacked enough times, you have to do an ambush battle to repair. You have to stop and make repairs to your carriage. So that's the battle that's happening right now. It says that one person in your party has to do nothing except repair the caravan for that turn. So I only have 2 people. So the game tells me that right now I only have 1 person at a time to fight these 4 people. Well, eventually we were down to 1 person, and I did find out that one last person doesn't have to fix the caravan. If you only have 1 person left, they can still fight. But at that point, like, the run's over. I can't win, but I gave it my old college try. Our boy Dorf, we've named all our characters permanently thanks to chat. Dorf the Plague Eater, our Plague Doctor.
Dwarf, like romantic?
Yeah, depending on your dialect. He got a bunch of licks, and he killed, I think, 3 of these guys before the end of the battle. Let's see, because he's the last one left, and boom, he just starts swinging. I'm like, man, I should have used a damage dealer rather than a healer. But there's a lot I could tell you about this game. Cool bosses, cool areas, cool abilities. The biggest overhaul in the 1.0 is the progression system. Technically, it was released a handful of weeks ago, but I hadn't played since then. It's good stuff. This is a game. If I compare it to other roguelikes, of course it's very hard. The whole point of the game is that you're destined to struggle. Like the whole point is it's always going to be very hard all the time, and it's the best of making making the best of a bad situation. So much like very challenging games like this, a lot of we had a bunch of insanity meltdowns. It's not looking good on stream there. Like a lot of these games, the reward is when you overcome a big obstacle, it feels great. It just feels so great. But I did not overcome those obstacles this time. I did kill the boss, so I got some extra candles, which are so valuable. But, we didn't make it this time. But it was a good run.
If it was just a straight RPG, I would have already played this game, completely. I love so many things about it. It's just the roguelike stuff.
Yep.
Like, that's it.
I'd say that's it's honestly much different than the first game, where I couldn't progress very far in the first game at all. It was so difficult. At least here it feels like you are. Like there's like some sort of.
Well, so you're not going to find yourself stuck. In the first game, you can find yourself stuck with not enough money to get upgrades and not enough upgrades to win any fights. And so right at the beginning of the game, if you don't have pretty quick success, you can basically ruin your save file. And that's kind of what I did the first time I played. I don't restart games very often for any reason, but I did restart Darkest Dungeon 1 because I locked myself in a corner where I couldn't get a healer. In this game, you can always choose between your available party members, but in Darkest Dungeon 1... Oh, hello, it's me. In Darkest Dungeon 1, it's all random. You get to choose from a random selection of characters, and if you didn't get the right selection, like if they didn't offer you a healer, good luck. Like it can be winnable, but it's going to be really, really hard. So this is a lot more straightforward. You're not going to find yourself just stuck in a corner, unable to progress at all. The ability to start fresh feels wonderful. It's like when I compare it to Dark Souls games, I love when I have no souls in my pocket. Either I just lost them, which is bad, or I spent them. But either way, now I have a fresh start, and that fresh start gives me the options to play around with abilities, maybe in a weird, possibly unsuccessful way. But it's a fresh run, so it means there's less to lose. And I could just restart and lose in the first area over and over, and there are no serious consequences. In the first game, the consequences of death were really bad. So in this game, you're going to die, but death happens, and you roll with it. But overall, I like it. I've been playing on early access in the Epic Game Store for like a year, maybe, on and off. Not that often because I didn't want to burn myself out once 1.0 came up. But to compare it to a lot of other roguelikes, I would say that these runs are much longer than some of the other games I play. At least they feel that way. Because some of the combats can be pretty long, depending on your team. And so combine that with a bunch of other mechanics if you have a certain play style, and these runs can be measured kind of in hours, depending on how you play, instead of minutes. But Darkest Dungeon, it's a lot of fun. Do recommend it. I think it's $20. I didn't actually look, but I don't think either of those games have ever gone over $20. I'll check that out before.
I think it's like significantly more. I think it's actually like $40.
Well, it's a good game. With the roguelike stuff, it seems like there is a
I
whole
was
lot
stunned
of
too.
games.
I was like, whoa, $40. But hey, they do good shit.
Let's see if I can
They do
find
good
it
work.
here.
It is on Steam. Yeah, it's $40. There.
40
Wow.
bucks. Somewhere in here.
They call it Darkest Dungeon 2 because they multiply the price of the first one by 2.
It's probably a much bigger game, honestly.
You lost that run because you didn't have Siobhan there. If you would have had Siobhan there.
Hey, I did just unlock the Hellion. She's the first character I've unlocked because she's my favorite of the non-starting crew. So we'll have her. But there are 12 characters. We only have 4 unlocked right now because the progress reset. So I'm excited to check that out. As long as you get past an area to the inn, if people have died, you can replace them with other characters you've unlocked. But sometimes that's easier said than done.
Yeah.
But Darkest Dungeon, made by Red Hook Games. It's solid. There's also a tabletop version out. And you can even see by the way that this game is structured that it feels more like a tabletop game in a bunch of ways.
Cool.
Especially if you take out the micromanaging stuff of the first game. All right, well that's my whole deal. I played that a couple times this week. Check the VODs here on Twitch if you're interested. Chris, let's bounce back to you. You want to talk about some Borderlands B?
I guess so. Yeah, I've been counting down the days till Diablo 4 comes out because it's so good at make a bunch of loot pop out. Make me look at all that loot. Make me equip it. Make me sell it. Make me do it again. Make me just keep doing it over and over.
Yes, the loot loop.
Yes, the loot loop. And nothing I've been playing has scratched it. I've been trying randomly, just shooting it in the dark. That phrasing was bad. Sorry about that. But one second. Anyway, but Borderlands 3 was free on PlayStation Plus as one of the monthly free games. I don't know, sometime in the recent past. And I didn't hate it. And I have been like firmly, I don't like Borderlands. I didn't like Borderlands 2. Anytime they're announcing anything, I'm just like, ugh, why? Why are we doing this? It might be Randy Pitchford that is mostly responsible for this. But it wasn't cringy or as cringy as I thought it would be. And it was fun for that loop of, ooh, I keep getting new guns. Cool. All right, go do the next mission. Ooh, I got new guns. Cool. All right, let's just keep doing it. And I wasn't playing any shooters at the time either, so it kind of fit into 2 realms that I needed to be playing. And yeah, I didn't hate it at all. I am stunned, and that means that I think one of you asked me before we started the show, like, are you going to play Tiny Tina? And I'm like, I don't have any plans to, but if it's something like this, where it's just free on PlayStation Plus for a month, and I download it, give it add it to the library, and then download it later, I will be less standoffish to more Borderlands things or, the Tiny Tina game and like things like that. I'll be less, why are we doing this? Because I sort of get it now. At least I get it.
Oh, it's got its hooks in you, the feedback loop.
Yeah, so I don't think I'm going to be putting much more time into it, but I played it for 30 or like 25, 30 hours, something like that.
Okay.
And that game's big. It's too big, honestly. They keep stacked. There's so much shit. It's like, oh, and go to this planet, and this planet, and this planet, and this planet, and this planet.
Well, that's why they call it the Borderlands.
Yeah, I was like, all right. Easy. We're doing too much. But and there's like 100 DLC. There's 100 of them.
There
and
is a lot of downloadable content for this game, but
I
I
don't
mean,
know
Borderlands
what
2
all of
had
it
that
is.
kind of problem too.
Yeah. But it's free on PlayStation Plus. If it's just sitting in your library, check it out, because I have been so negative and standoffish to Borderlands, and then played the most recent one. I was like, hey, I don't hate this. This is totally fine.
It's funny that you say that, because like when it first came out, I did, the me thing, and I got the $100 edition, and I played it for like maybe 2 days, and I was just like, I don't know if I like this.
Yeah.
Because like for me, I had been coming from Borderlands 2, which I'd played like religiously, and then Borderlands 1, and to me it felt like more of the same and not in a good way. Especially with the writing. The writing was very, very Borderlandsy, and that you can only survive that kind of writing for so long.
25 to 30 hours or so.
It's the same kind of problem that like the Squanch Studio games had, the Justin Roiland games. It's that kind of writing, and it's just like, if you're not in the mood to like hear those kinds of jokes or digest that kind of dialogue, it's just like so grating to try and parse and get through.
That was my main, like, I don't think I'll ever play a Borderlands again. And then I guess it had been long enough, or I hadn't, you know what I mean? I cannot explain to you
you didn't
that I
fall
actually
into
liked
Destiny,
it. I was just like, I've been in a riff of I'll download it and play it for 10 minutes and then be like, yeah, no, this ain't it. This isn't what I need. This isn't what I want to be playing. All right, delete it. What else we got? Scroll through the library. All right, let's try this one.
I feel like it'll be a really good game for us to get together and play, like on one of those nights where it's just like we're chilling in the Discord, like with a couple of drinks or whatever. And I think it would be like that kind of good time, but like just playing to play. It's not really one of those kind of games, I don't think.
I was playing solo and I was like, this is fun.
Yeah, it's fine. That's what I mean. It's fine.
Yeah.
Well,
It's fine.
I mean, 25 to 30 hours is not an insignificant amount of time. So it does sound like you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And even though Borderlands 3 did not do it for me, because I watched Lizzie play it in the other room, for all the reasons we've mentioned, Tiny Tina's Wonderland, she has been playing on and off with a friend, and that game's dope. I didn't expect to walk away with a positive reception of that, but the writing is good with a ton of voices I recognize, and the setting it does more for me. Not that I don't like Tales from the Borderlands style settings, like I do like that stuff, but the medieval setting with Tiny Tina kind of like breaking the fourth wall a little bit and talking to you, the player, and talking to the characters who are players in the game, in the world, is done pretty well. It was pretty endearing, and there were lots of moments where Lizzie called me in from the other room to be like, yo, check this thing out. This is crazy, right?
Yep. I would say like Odysseus is like no less than a 6 out of 10. And I would say I'd actually, if you're doing it out of like that way, I would say it's a 7.
Okay. That is a playable game. That is an enjoyable game.
100%. 6s are playable games, but
wasn't Tiny Tina like written by Ashley Birch? Because she's one of the main components of that. Like she plays Tiny Tina, so
yeah. I'll look that up. So I think you're right about that.
If she is the main writer, that would explain why the writing in that game is particularly, stellar. Because she's an awesome writer.
3, but she's not so tiny. She's like a normal sized person.
Wow,
not
that doesn't
so
make
tiny
sense.
Tina.
Not so tiny Tina.
Regular sized Rudy.
Yeah.
Cue the Tina sound alert. Vilos, where were you on that? We had a whole thing going.
His camera cut out.
Sorry.
Just at the his microphone too. Chris, I'm glad you've enjoyed that. It's always nice to hear somebody be surprised by something something that subverted expectations.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for you. There's a lot of Borderlands out there, and those games sure are long. But that sounds like fun, and I'm also happy that you were enjoying the game solo too, because a lot of people can play those games in co-op and be like, I don't even care what happens in the game because I'm playing with my pal. But nice to hear that it can stand on its own. In 2023, playing solo. So happy for that. All right, then let's bounce back to Sav to wrap up what we've been playing. You got one more game on here that I know nothing about. So let's go.
Surprise.
Huh?
It's not a shooter.
Now that's subverting expectations.
Ta-da! This game is called Go-Go Town, and actually, Benson is the one who turned me onto it because I saw like a trailer for it like at the past, and I was like, oh yeah, that's cute. And then I was with him when he found out that he got accepted, and like he started like fumbling around the Discord and everything, and I was like, well, now I'm curious because I couldn't really tell a lot from the trailer as far as like what kind of game it was. I just knew that it was just, a town sim, like Animal Crossing. Um, but there are so many different engines in the town, like in the game rather, that when they all come together, it culminates into this like really satisfying experience.
That's a
So I
run
only
test
played.
right there.
It really is. I played for like 3 hours. I streamed it, and I didn't want to stop. I was just like, I have somewhere to be, so I have to go. But like, I want to keep playing. So basically, what you do is in this game, the premise is that you are the mayor of a town, and you have been assigned with the task of bringing that town prosperity through reputation, making money. Well, they say bringing the town that, but really you're working for like a big conglomerate called, I think, Townco.
Yep.
Well, yeah, Townco. I see it on the stream there. So you're just like given this random empty ass town, and it's your job to like find resources to craft buildings and build them and make establishments and get an economy going. And that's basically what you can do in the demo. It's kind of bare bones right now, but I still had a really good time learning the basics of everything. And then you could play indefinitely for like as long as you want. The only caveat is the instant you close the app, it wipes your town. So
What?
So you start over.
Are you okay with that? Is that
Yeah,
a
actually
fun
no,
mechanic?
because
It's a demo.
it's just a demo.
Demo.
So
okay,
and, like,
but still, I don't like losing progress.
well, none of it carries over anyway, which then if it did carry over to the full game, then I would be kind of like, what? But what it allowed me to do personally on my stream was optimize my town experience for the demo. So I spent the first playthrough, just kind of learning how everything worked. I had to be told that there was like a garbage dump that you can make. Like you have to proprietize that garbage dump because people were just dumping garbage all over my town. I was like, what? Do I have to make a dump? And so I made these storage bins that I figured could act as like trash cans. No, you can actually make trash cans and then in turn make a garbage dump and then assign someone to work the garbage dump to like automate the garbage disposal. So it's really interesting because it has all the Animal Crossing bits, but then it has like the Sims bits where you give people jobs. So you get all the people to come to your town. In the demo, they just automatically come to your town. But
I mean, they heard there was a really nice town dump, so they showed up.
After the fact, it was run by a werewolf named Scruffy.
It's in the
So he was
brochures.
Scruffy the janitor.
Scruffy the janitor.
I specifically assigned him to the dump because his name was Scruffy, and I was just like, "Yep, Scruffy the janitor."
Sorry, kid, you were born into this life.
But it's so addicting. Just getting everything going, getting the automation going, because it reminded me a lot of PlateUp, where you start out kind of manually doing everything, but then you can build like the automated machines that like bake the pizza, put it on the plate, and you just run it out there. And so starting out, you do everything yourself. But then, like I said, you can have that janitor come around and automate the trash. You have to deliver ingredients to the different establishments so that they're able to make whatever they're making. So for instance, if you have like a restaurant, you'll need the ingredients from like the farm, like the fruit and the milk and the wheat. If they're like a crafter, then you'll need to give them wood and gems and ores so that they can make their things. Well, you can automate that as well by hiring a courier. So then the courier goes around and collects all the resources that the other employees are collecting for the establishments. And once the whole automation takes place, it's just so satisfying watching everyone go around doing everything like all the time. It's just like, look at my town running itself. I'm such a proud mayor. I'm like a little parent. Look at you. Look at you. Hey, Ramona, go back to your coffee shop. Get back to work. So that's like the Sims portion of it. And then the Animal Crossing portion of it comes into decorating and dressing up your town with all the different bushes and lampposts and fountains and things like that. It still does operate on a tile-based system, so everything's really easy to place. However, at the current moment, there isn't a way to rotate anything. The buildings I understand because of the isometric view, and in Animal Crossing you can't rotate buildings either. So that's kind of like a given in a game like this. But I did actually run the suggestion of being able to rotate objects like bushes and all that stuff. just to create some different like town aesthetics and things like that, especially for bushes. If you rotate them, you can create more organic like arrangements and things like that. So that was something that they were like, oh wow, that's actually a pretty good idea. Let me just run that up to the team. And I was like, oh, this is cool. I really like that kind of indie feel, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later when we're into our party topic. But the whole time you're doing all this, you're listening to like this lo-fi playlist. And I think these are all actually licensed songs from like lo-fi artists. They're a little short for my liking. It seems like they're like a minute, maybe long. And there's only like 4 or 5 of them for this demo. So you hear the same songs an awful lot. But they're not bad songs. You know, you hear them a lot. Yeah. Like if they had longer loops, maybe, or like in Animal Crossing, it changes every hour. If they did something like that, maybe even 30 minutes, I think it would be more palatable, I guess is the word I'm looking for, you know?
Is that how you say that word? That's a genuine question.
Yes, palatable.
Palatable.
Yeah. The only problem
Vilos
I
said,
really
nope,
have...
I'm out. She said it one way, and I won't stand for it.
I mean, I'm still getting over Ankylosaurus because I could have sworn it was pronounced Ankylosaurus until Benson and I went to that museum that I shared the pictures of you guys with, and there was like this whole statue of an Ankylosaurus, and it was just like pronunciation Ankylosaurus, and I'm like, I'm never gonna let him find out about this. But of course, now you know. So
yes,
Mike's super short show.
Super short show.
But the only problem I really had with this game was the fact, besides the rotation thing, that was just like a small nitpick, is that the interface was kind of confusing in a way that I had to learn that you can make trash cans and a garbage dump and stuff before, you know, finding out that they exist. Like it wasn't very intuitive. Like I didn't know how many tiles I could scroll up and down the lists on because there was no indicator that I could go further along those lists. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the list for building, you would open up the build menu and it would start you off on, I don't know, an apartment building. Well, then that made me think that, oh, that's the start of the list because that's where it put me. No, I could scroll down further and find the courier building. I could find the garbage dump. I could find the garbage cans and all that stuff too. So I really had to like explore the menu to find out all the things that I can do, which made my first playthrough of the game frustrating because all of these issues were popping up that I didn't know how to fix because I didn't know that there were solutions sitting right there in the build menu, like the garbage situation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
but
Dark
that's
Ascension
really
had a few things here and there where I was like, I'm glad I've been playing this before today, you know, before 1.0, so I know how to navigate this stuff. But it just doesn't tell you some things. Like you'd have to just click around in a game that doesn't make you feel like just clicking around is a very good idea. So yeah, I was able to figure stuff out, but it doesn't feel good when you feel like the game didn't give you the tools to understand what you're supposed to be doing, especially looking at this game with a game that has automation or town building or economics at all. Not knowing what to do next, like by the time that you figure it out, it can often feel too late. And then you have to ask yourself, like, well, how do I solve this? In this, if you just close the game and come back and it's a new file, no sweat. But, you know, if you were 3 hours into this game and you realized you needed to be doing something starting 2 hours ago, just decide what you want to do with your life. Do you restart? Do you see if you can, fix it? Sometimes it's not obvious. So
that is something that I actually ended up doing on stream. It's just like, oh, I can't like deconstruct this or whatever. Because in the demo, you can't, once you put something there, it's there. You can't get rid of it or anything like that. And you also have a certain inventory stock of the items that you can like build and place and things like that. So once you run out of those, you know, you're kind of up a creek because in the demo, there's no way to get more of those. So my first playthrough, I actually ran out of storage crates because I was like making the dump full of storage crates since I didn't know that there was a garbage dump. And I was
we're storing all of our trash in these treasure chests. Oh God, we're out of treasure chests. And they all smell terrible.
And then in my next playthrough, I like misplaced a building or something. And then I was just like, oh, well, you know what? Boop, restart. So that was really nice. But of course, the full release is definitely going to have like, I'm pretty sure they're going to have like ways to like deconstruct or move or something before you open the stores and things like that. Well, maybe not the stores because you can't move a building in Animal Crossing either once you place it. But decorations and stuff, I think you can at least deconstruct and then move.
Well, dope. Okay, well, yeah, seems like a game for people who like Animal Crossing type games, but with a little more of a sim swing to them. You know, it seems like an oversimplification, of course, but just calling out the things that seem obvious from this video. So that seems cool because Animal Crossing was a game that I liked certain things about, especially a lack of being able to wiggle trees really, really hard with your bare hands, like that woman.
I think she was using a drill.
Yeah,
Or not a, yeah,
right.
the
She had a
thingy.
picnic basket in one hand and the drill. That's how it's recommended. She was just missing her safety gear, her eye protection. Well, cool. I mean, this looks dope, and I do want to keep talking about it, but I know we're gonna swing back to this a little bit later, and I do want to get to our party topic here. Before we go too big. I didn't interrupt you though. If you have any finishing thoughts for here, and then we might take like a 5-minute break if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, I was just going to say that this demo is available until the 14th, and you can actually still sign up for it if you're interested with the link here that I will share in the chat.
Actually,
That's definitely what we've been playing.
Oh, that's definitely what we've been playing. Oops, haven't updated that in a few weeks.
Wow.
We have been playing. Sav played Go-Go Town, and what was the other one? I have this doc in front of me.
Splatoon 3.
And Splatoon 3. Vilos played Fire Emblem Engage. I and beat Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Wave 4 Future Perfect DLC with soundtrack.
Yes.
See, I think it's most of those words in some order. I played Darkest Dungeon 2, and then Chris played Borderlands 3 and Jedi Fallen Order, the first game to the Jedi Survivor, which just came out last week. So hell yeah. Wonderful. Well, thanks for putting all that together, y'all. Let's take a 5-minute break before we jump into our topic of indies, and then we'll really dive into what that means and all that good stuff. Vilos, will probably start with you if you want to be ready for that. But yeah, let's take a short little break. Let me go refill my water and all that good stuff, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Let's see. Does You Suck at Parking have? I'm gonna open the game and see if it has music I can play right now. Perhaps. Otherwise, if I wish I had set up the tracks that you recommended to me, Saab, so I can play. Oh, that's loud. That's. Sorry, everyone. Every app starts at full volume. That was really loud. Gosh, I hate that.
Was that like Bert? What was that?
Yeah, there was birds. Actually, you know what? I tell you what. I'll put the game on here, even though we're not playing because the. Yeah, let's like this. We're not playing yet, but I'm just gonna show you this menu. It starts with "You Suck at Parking" written out on the ground, and then all of these cars just come smashing. So I'll let this play, and we'll see you guys in a few minutes.
This reminds me of like the SpongeBob where he's like learning to drive, where Miss Puff gives him a license without him passing the test, and she's like, "Oh, what have I done?" And she imagines him driving. He's like, "La la 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 la," like crashing into everybody.
We going for record time on the podcast tonight? With 4 of us?
I mean, I'm hoping not. It's definitely inching up there. I think the worst time we had was, I think it was 2 hours and like 13 minutes before the actual topic. So
oh God!
we would have to go a little bit longer. I don't remember which one that was, but it was pretty funny.
At least we didn't have to split it up. Harlow, what are you doing?
She's like, don't worry about me, Mom. What is she doing?
There's like a little like Odongo little cat toy back there, and she's just like I don't encourage drinking and driving, but I'm definitely about to make me a witch doctor. Never mind, I'm out of fireball.
Oh man, I got this strawberry cake cream ale, which is very interesting. Actually, I gotta get you focused on him.
Oh, 6% by volume.
See what it says, drink with?
Pairs with
Girl power?
milk, ice cream, and girl power.
What does that mean?
It's a very good question. It is very good. It is very much like a strawberry shortcake flavor.
Strawberry shortcake.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna see if I have any like fireball lurking in the fridge or something, because I'm just out of my mini fridge wins.
Oh, did the cars stop? We ran out of cars?
Yo.
Oh man, what happens if I do anything? Oh, there's a splash screen. Oh, can I go back? Oh, this screen is very Epic Game Store. What happens if I click quit the desktop? No, I want to go back to the cool screen where you're crashing cars. Is there anything else I can?
We're gonna have a good time with that.
Yeah, I think we are. Oh, we could spend $100 probably.
We can,
Guys.
I don't know that it's on spider hack levels, but it looks like it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. The inability to stop really adds a special layer of what the hell's going on. You know?
Yeah, when it was like, go try to park. I was like, okay, oh shit. In the little like tutorial that's just like try to drive and park in the parking spots.
Right. Let's see. I'm gonna warn you real quick. My room is very warm, and I can't open the windows because it's way too loud.
You gotta take your shirt off?
Yeah, actually, the shirt's already off. For those who can't see me,
That's just your skin and a new tattoo.
Yeah,
Cool,
yeah, I got a
man.
chest tattoo actually. Of Mario Kart, the game I
Who
can't
would've
stop
thought
talking
Mario
about.
Kart would be the first tattoo that you got.
It's all I can ever talk about, you know. Let's get us back on here. Okay, I gotta make sure I mute my game so we don't have it creeping on in here.
To be honest, I expect you to have like a rock and stone at some point somewhere on your body.
You know, I meant to ask you earlier. So Xenoblade 3 tattoo when? All over your whole body?
All over.
As soon as we raise enough money on the only tats? Yep. Confirmed. When chat donates enough, says Nerd said. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, but
So-
anyway, this party topic tonight we got going on.
So I don't have any tats, but it actually Xenoblade 3 has the perfect thing to be a tat, and it is my desire.
It's my desire. It's my
Because there's
desire.
the part of the game, all the main characters have a literal symbol on them that shows them how long they've been alive.
Oh,
So,
that's eerie. At least it's
Creepy.
not a
It's
death
pretty cool.
clock, you know. At least it's a life
I mean,
clock.
it literally is though. They're going to die when it runs down.
Oh, when
Like,
it runs down, not
Yeah.
up. Oh,
Yeah, it
that's
does run down.
terrible. Okay, I take back what I said. Not cool. Actually, a cool concept, but horribly terrifying. How could you live
Oh.
your life if you could see when your timer's gonna run out?
Fuzzy and Elmeyer in chat. Hey y'all.
What's up, y'all?
Yeah, chat.
Let's see. Kitty, you're not gonna cry too loud if I leave the door open, right? No, she will. She was crying when I opened it.
Harlow's like, what if I start crying?
Right. Let me
No,
open.
Harlow's pretty quiet. Only because I'm giving her attention, so she won't be.
Yeah, if I give Navi attention, she's happy. It's when, well, she really doesn't like closed doors. Whenever there's a door closed somewhere in the apartment, she sounds off the alarm. All
That
right.
reminds me of another cat I know.
Yep, that's how they do. Full personality. All right, well, we're back at it. Let's hop into this party topic here before we go and play You Suck at Parking together. It'll be a good time. But You Suck at Parking is another indie game, which is the topic of our discussion. We've got a broad discussion here because we with the wake of Redfall and Jedi Survivor getting such mixed reviews in the AAA space right now, I wanted to revisit as a team. You know, we talk about indies all the time. When I was telling Chad about it yesterday during the Darkest Dungeon stream, Odysseus was joking. He was like, "Oh, you guys are really going to branch out, do something new, finally, try some indie games." And I'm like, "Well, yep, that's kind of the name of the game." But we do have the spread. I mean, Sav, you joked that you've only really played like one or two indie games this year. Though I was trying to think, and I was like, a lot of the games that you play, I'm kind of already off on a tangent here, but a lot of the games that you play are like the indie equivalent of these AAA games that have like battle passes in them, so like a Rogue Company type games, think of stuff like that. Like, I was trying to figure out in my game, like, where do you draw the line between a small game that looks AAA and an actual AAA game? And I think if a game has a battle pass or some sort of like real freemium currency, it is definitely not an indie game anymore.
Yeah.
So you play games that are like near that space a lot. They feel new. They're often low key. You discover them before they're out. But but indie paints with a broad brush. So when we went into this topic, we threw around just talking about our favorite indies of 2023. We talked about potentially talking about some of our favorite creators in the space. Some what's the biggest one out this year that has the most hype. There are a lot of things we can talk about. So instead of having all of us talk about one thing that we would have a very mixed amount of input on, we decided to each kind of approach indies in 2023 from our own direction. So we've each kind of got a little thesis here, and we can. I'm not going to read off what those are. As we go between us, we'll kind of explain what those will be. But yeah, we sure do love indies around here, and while AAA games can have very high expectations, and sometimes they really deliver, sometimes they don't. In the case of like Redfall, it is not where needs to be today, it seems, but that's a game that might get there. That type of development is very different than what you see in the indie space. You might see a very high-profile indie game, like anything that Devolver makes, or some of the big publishers now, where like indie publishers are bigger than they've ever been. But it's a whole lot different. You've got small teams making these games. They often have a much lower budget. They come out on a different time frame. They come out on different platforms. They can be all over the place. So anyway, with so many things in the indie space to talk about, Vilos, let's dive into it. You're the most interested in. I'll let you introduce all that. As soon as he's still eating. I gotta stall. All right, Baba Booey.
You did it. Congratulations.
Thank
I'm
you.
so proud of you.
Thank you.
You got me there. That's all I needed. So, yeah, for me, really thinking about the topic, I decided that, this year we did have all these expectations of these high profile games, like you said, Redfall and stuff like that. But with AAA, there's still blockbusters. There's still what I call savior games. We've got.
I mean, that I Am Jesus Christ game. Big hit. Small team.
My topic was going to be the indies don't have a savior game, but they actually do have a literal savior game. Damn it!
Oh,
but
you almost had it.
But as far as like how it goes in the competition, right? Like we're looking at a Tears of the Kingdom, biggest game of the year by a long shot. But at the same time, AAA's also have Armored Core 6 coming out, Starfield. There have been a few delays of different things, but like the ones we really expected to be this year are this year. However, indies, they definitely don't have a savior game this year. That said, part of that is because like we got news on Hollow Knight Silksong a couple days ago. Guess what? quote unquote second half of 2023, and we know that's probably not going to happen.
But the reason for that, right, was that, well, one of the reasons was that the game is much bigger than originally anticipated.
But I mean, Hollow Knight was a 25-30 hour game. Like, come on, this was supposed to be.
I just think it's funny
like
that
1.5.
How often does that happen with AAA games where they're like, yeah, we kind of set up with a rough goal and then we actually doubled it. Like AAA games usually have a very specific purpose and a budget and all this stuff. But when you got these smaller projects, they're just like, well, we really love what we're doing, so we'll just do it the best we can. And then it turns out the best version of what they can does not match the time frame and budget that they set out with. But they're going to do it their way because they can't, because when you have a small crew, you have the ability to steer that ship a lot more quickly than a massive project.
And most of the time, you don't have to worry about like crunch time and things like that. So your employees that are actually making the game are, happy to be working on the game.
No.
Perhaps.
Sometimes.
But yeah, like Silksong, definitely Team Cherry is its own brand of indie. Although that said, they're not like Yacht Club games, pumping out 6 different games over the course of like 5 years.
No.
They're just Hollow Knight and Silksong. So
Yacht Club is behind the Shovel Knight series, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so going even further into the indie of indies, we have the Haunted Chocolatier, which hours ago or a few days ago, the creator of that said he's also taking a break because fuck this.
Dude, he said he's like, the Chocolatier upcoming game's been teased for 2 years. Creator Stardew Valley is taking a break from developing this highly anticipated game that I can't wait for it to be here to release more Stardew Valley content. I'm like, no, please. There's already so much. I don't need more.
It made very little sense, but of course, we love indie so much. We are not criticizing, but at the same time, it's like this is a little silly on some of these points.
I will throw money at you. Hire someone else. Like just hire someone to slowly keep
hire
doing
one person to keep moving it.
Yeah.
But we have had some really big things this year and most of them actually came out of nowhere. Like we got Sons of the Forest. Like only the very dedicated The Forest fans knew that it was coming, and nobody anticipated it being so hype and so constantly like in people's like on people's radar this year. And as you guys know, we fucking love that game. It was such a good time, and it's still going to be getting popular later this year, I'm sure, when further updates happen. Then we got Hi-Fi Rush out of nowhere. We've gotten some
that
smaller
was this
things.
year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Is it too late to change my answer?
We got some smaller things like a Space for the Unbound, which I really need to get like real bad. It's a very much a like pixel art adventure / almost visual novel style, really cool narrative experience. We got Tachia. We got Coffee Talk, the second part of that, Hibiscus and Butterfly. I totally forgot the second part of the name. Cassette Beasts, and then like things like Liza P, which is that Bloodborne-ish sort of game that we've seen a few things for.
Hibiscus and Butterfly. You were right.
Hibiscus and Butterfly. There we go. Then we've got like AI Code, which is this really wild Yoko Taro approved Nier Automata like that is.
How do you make a game like Nier like that one you said?
It's really impossible, honestly. This one guy spending, not even kidding, like 20 hours a day, literally killing himself to get this game completed, and he's mimicking a game that was created by half of Square Enix's like roster of people, and like there's so much work being done and so many great things happening. There's no lack at all of beautiful indies coming out, but it is still very funny to me that we don't have that savior game. We'll have something that comes out as a wild hit, I'm sure, out of nowhere, but a lot of the stuff right now is just like a consistent level of hype, a slow gathering of a fan base. Things like I'm sure you might talk about Sunshine Shuffle when it comes to Xalavier Nelson. but yeah, nothing is sticking out as the next big thing, and honestly, that's totally fine. Especially in a year that's running with something like the sequel to Breath of the Wild and the however long it's been since Armored Core 5, like
And
literally From Software coming out with two straight bangers. From
Bethesda's
last
follow up,
year.
to
Yeah.
their first new IP in a long time, and the first like big thing they've made since Fallout 4, I think. Fallout 4 came after Skyrim, right? I think so.
Yeah.
So it's been a long
And
time.
it feels like forever.
We've got these
Well,
huge
now we can see
games.
horses cartwheel in space, like in space,
That's right.
and it'll actually make sense.
I
Wait,
hope it
actually,
happens.
do you think the horses will actually be on the ground since they're not supposed to be on the ground in space? It's zero gravity. Is that what's going to happen? I mean, what's the Bethesda spin on this? I need to know.
Yeah, the glitch is there's accidentally gravity. There will be like horses walking around on the outside of your ship, as if there's gravity on the ship.
I need you to be able to do something like in Just Cause and put a rocket on a cow's ass. Just if we can do that in Skyfield, in Starfield, that would be the way.
Skyfield, my favorite
Skyrim
James
Field.
Bond movie.
Yes.
My like thing for this is actually I'm sort of piggybacking off of what Vilos was talking about. Like we're already in May. We're nearly halfway through the year, and there hasn't been this like big indie yet, right? And I was thinking though, I think that it's a really strong year for indies that I'm assuming people have. Oh, I missed that. I'll come back for it later. And hopefully that all happens when we get towards the end of the year. But I just want to read off some of these really quick. Dredge had a little moment there for a second, it seemed like. And I feel like more people are going to end up going back to it. I saw somebody post this week or last week in our Facebook asking if they should pick it up. That Wild Frost card game, that's only going to get better with time. Like these roguelikes and stuff, they're just going to, more updates and more things like that. Darkest Dungeon 2 just came out.
Yeah,
like,
the fact that
nobody's going to play it because of Zelda, but in like 2 months from now, everybody's gonna be like, "Hey, man, Darkest Dungeon 2 is pretty awesome."
I think that's the benefit of them being able to do early access as an indie game, because there's a huge difference in content from when that day one early access came out and day one 1.0 came out. Because they took feedback from everybody to make significant design changes that wouldn't have happened. They basically built their foundation for the game after they released it. So they had some stuff. They were like, "Hey, how do you like this?" People responded, and then they built the game that people wanted. With the AAA game, you can't do that. There's not time and money in the development cycle for you to make a risk like that. You can come out with an early access game and tweak it in, a little bit in the right direction, but to have players, to give players that much control or input, I should say, on what your game is going to be is a high risk situation. But I think it pays off in this case, where I can be like, "Hey, Darkest Dungeon was good through the whole early access, and now today it's the best version it can be. So if you haven't checked that out, it's not going anywhere, and it's only going to go on sale as we wait, because Darkest Dungeon 1 was on sale basically for the entire past 2 years. It's almost literally always on sale."
Yes.
So that'll probably happen again, but it's an exciting thing to be able to feel like you as a player can influence that, what the game turns into. And again, it's just something you can't get with a huge title, because those decisions have to be made already. It has to be a lot more business oriented rather than passion oriented or even player oriented.
Well, right, and then there's stuff like Cassette Beast, like he mentioned, that seems to like people really love that game. And then there's more stuff coming. Like through this year, we still have Planet of Lana, which is at the end of the month. There's Sea of Stars, which is in August. That's like the huge JRPG type of game that's made by the people that made The Messenger. Really crazy. It was like the cover of Game Informer.
Cannot wait for that.
3 months ago, something like that. Gunbrella from Devolver. Plucky Squire is apparently a 2023 game. That's what it says on there.
That's a weird name.
is still possible. That's the one
Oh,
where
I
you're
think that one's going to be really big once it finally hits.
the animated character that's like going through the books and
Oh,
everything.
which
And
one?
you
Which one is
pop
that?
out of the book, the Devolver Digital joint.
No, I mean I know what the game is. What's it called again?
Plucky Squire.
That's
Plucky
the
Squire.
Plucky Squire. Okay, that one looks great.
Yeah.
Such
And
a
then
novel idea.
Silksong still there's this year is going to be. I feel like it seems like it's been slow so far, but it actually hasn't been, and we're about to have a whole bunch of like really, really, really strong um, indie games that are out there. I feel like because there's such time sinks like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and things like that in Starfield, that it may just take a little longer for people to find them or to, some people. I notice this happens sometimes. There'll be like just like a resurgence of like 3 months later, like some people start playing this indie game for some reason. It goes on sale, or and then I just feel like this year is actually really strong in the indie space. We're not there yet.
That said, I feel like the only one that's doing something really different there would be Dredge.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of part of the funny thing of it. Like Celeste, when Celeste came out and did this thing, it was the thing that reinvigorated and made that genre become a thing again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Darkest Dungeon roguelike. Cassette Beast is a Pokemon Light. Planet of Lana is an Ori clone. Sea of Stars is literally like complete homage nostalgia to the Mana games and some
So
of
I
the
tell you
other
what, if you want a copy
SNES
of another
RPGs,
game you
right?
like, we got him.
Yeah. And then Silksong is fucking Hollow Knight 2.0, but
If it ever actually comes out.
if
when
it
Sea of
exists,
Stars
yeah.
comes out in August, it's going to be huge. Like that
yeah.
game is like people are going to lose their minds over that game. It's very like Chrono Trigger. Like it's just. I feel like it's the indie JRPG that everyone has wanted for a long time, and it's like happening. So I have a feeling that it's going to be a very big one. And this, if Plucky Squire actually comes out in 2023, I think this is also going to do very well.
Yeah.
I hope so. Looks cool. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in here. If you guys have more trailers, I can even look them up while we're, having this discussion. But we're zigging and zagging Vilos. So if there's no Tears of the Kingdom, I see TOTK, and my brain goes to Wrath of the Lich King, the old World of Warcraft thing. And every time I see it, I'm just like, these words are all jumbled up. What am I reading here? Let's see. So if there's no TOTK equivalent for indies this year, it kind of begs the question: how often do you think something like that will come along? Would you expect a game that big to exist every year in the indie space? Because I almost feel like the indie space is like a big old tumbler. It's all these games get mixed into it, and maybe a game will come out and it didn't have a big release, but a year from now some streamer will play it and it'll get big, or it'll get some weird update for some reason, people noticed it and it's big. Where it'll go on sale on a Devolver Digital. People play Cult of the Lamb a year from now because it went on sale. Or even like I remember a few years ago, for some reason, A Wolf Among Us was weirdly, suddenly popular on Twitch for like a couple months. Like suddenly everyone was playing it, even though there had been no announcement, no update. It just happened to work that way. But I feel like in the indie space, you have all of these games that kind of resurface. They show up. Even a lot of like the survival games that I like, we joke that they're always in development for like 10 years, they're permanently in early access. I think 7 Days to Die is still in beta. It just went from alpha to beta recently, and it's been out for like 10 years. Lol. It's like, are any of them high profile enough to be that Tears of the Kingdom type of game? Because we love this stuff. We talk about it. And a lot of people preach the indies. I just wonder if the market even exists in a way to facilitate like an indie game making that big of a splash. Because even the most successful indies, I feel like, struggle with that to get the big mainstream appeal.
I think that Game Awards this year, 2 of the games that we just like rattled off will be in the discussion.
Yeah, and
What's the name of that Hyperlight sequel that's coming out soon.
Yeah,
Hyperlight
Breaker.
Breaker. It's entering early access this year in August, which means it probably won't actually fully release until 2024.
That does
Dang,
feel
because
like
I feel
the
like
next
that
move.
would be the Tears of the Kingdom equivalent, because that game is so like exploratively large scale, and also the same amount of like mysterious, land circumstances where it's just like, what's going on here? Well, you got to explore and talk to the people to find out, and then there's like this vast land to do that on. I think that's really cool, and it's like all ancient technology and stuff, which Tears of the Kingdom is going to be really focused on with its like skylands and whatnot. So
And some of even the indies we've named rattled off, some of those are being put out by, like, technically Hyperlight Breaker is a Gearbox joint. It is being published by Gearbox, so that's not necessarily what we would claim to be an indie game, but it's made by an indie team. It's made by 20 people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I think you said Lo-Fi or Hi-Fi Rush, but that's Tango Gameworks, and that's owned by Xbox. So that's,
Technicalities.
yes. So there, there's just there's a lot of that stuff.
There is still room. Like if we went back year by year, then we would have. I feel like we have the hype of a Tears of the Kingdom, but some slight failures. Like Hades, I think, was so close to being such a big thing. Like it was definitely a big thing, and it was impactful.
See if you can pull up a Sea of Stars trailer.
Cool.
Yes.
I'll
I'm
get
sure
that
there's
going.
one out there.
Well, but then, so to your point, and I know I'm interrupting here, if Hades can't be the big one, what can? Because that's about as big and successful and accessible as a game release can be. It even had that big early access. I think it was out for a year in early access or whatever they called it. For a year. So then you had a lot of people build up the hype. So then the 1.0 came out, and a ton of people picked it up like I did. But, if Hades can't be that, then I wonder what it would take. Because like Hades is like the big one, and as much as I loved Inscription and stuff, very highly acclaimed, but not the selling power that you get even with Hades.
I think you'd be. I think. Well, yeah. I don't think Inscription sold as much as Hades, but I think you'd be surprised by the amount that Inscription sold.
Especially after Casey's Mod came out.
Yeah. And also, like, you got to think that, like, what I was kind of saying about it, like, once we get towards the end of the year and people are going back to things that they missed and like finally like talking about these things, those also give all of these indie development teams a little bump because they get a bunch of people talking about their game again. And yeah, I think that there's going to be, we're talking Game Awards next year, there's going to be at least 2 indie games that are all up in that business.
Bet.
I mean, it's been good. We had Neon White last year. We had Tunic last year. We had Stray, which I still like. Yes, indie, but also lots of Sony money in there.
Death's Door.
Death's Door. Like a lot was there. Signalis was actually a very good seller in comparison to all those as well. Yeah, and there's a good reason it ended up on Game Pass. There's been a physical release on Switch in US and Japan. Like they went all out. But yeah, I don't know when we're seeing that next Celeste, that next like genre breaker, but
sometimes they just appear,
Yeah.
I was hoping Terra Nil would actually make a big splash. So there's still a good core game there, but I wanted to love that game. But I only liked it, and I'm gonna wait for some, small improvements, and then I will like it, and I'll probably play it like Lizzie does when I'm just looking for something cozy. But I tell you what, I kind of broke down some stuff here that's relevant to what we're talking about. My sort of thesis going into this was that indies are a lot more accessible for people that either have short attention spans, very limited free time, or they really value flexibility. And let me break down what those mean. You've got attention span. I think that the roguelike element of a lot of the games that we play, I showed a Brotato trailer, which is something that Shanny Pack gifted to me a little while back, and we played on stream. That is a game that I can play in short bursts, right? Because it's a roguelike, you hit start, you have a fresh save, you go as far as you can, you mix and match, experiment, maybe beat your head against a wall depending on the game, and then you lose, and you win or you lose, and depending on what the game is, maybe you carry over stuff to your next run or you don't. It depends on what you're looking for. But those games can be played in short little bursts. So if you're someone who has a commute on the subway or something, you can play your game during that time, or you can pop on the couch and play a quick game while dinner's cooking or something. Insert whatever your life scenario is here. But the point is that it's a lot more accessible to people who aren't able to just binge games the way, really the way that the four of us do most of the time. So then, Nerd says I'm talking about somebody with decent transit. Maybe. It is new to me, but it's another example. So one of the things with flexibility that I brought up is that with new handhelds like the Steam Deck or the Asus, whatever it's called, that I'd have to look up, that I shared today, that seems like a more powerful but also more expensive competitor to the Steam Deck. Those give you the options of playing on the go. And sure, you can play plenty of AAA games on the go too. But if you're worried about max specs on these things or conserving battery life or whatever, or like me, if you just prefer to play certain types of smaller games while you're on your couch, lying on your back with the thing above you, and if you fall asleep, it falls on your face, if you're the kind of person who likes to play in that situation, then the flexibility of being able to play on these handhelds or on your Switch for the indies that it has, I think is wonderful. I think it's just a great way to experience games your way. Again, you can experience those in AAA spaces as well. I just think that to me, handheld means cozy, and most cozy games are indie games. Simple as that.
I'll stand by that. Dredge is the best game I've played on my Steam Deck for sure.
Dope. And
Like
Hades
100%.
is the best game. Hades and Into the Breach are the best games I've played on my Switch, as well as Slay the Spire. All very good handheld games. It's weird to me to even imagine playing a big game on my Switch, because that's just not what that's not what a handheld is to me. It can be to many people. They use it that way, but me personally, I don't. All of this too, because you've got a smaller package. Phrasing, Chris? Yeah, that one's for you. You also have a lower price point, which means, like with Brotato, games like indies make wonderful gifts, because you can buy a game that's $5, $10, $20 and gift it to a friend, and you're not it's not like when I was younger, I was always afraid. It's like my parents would like buy, or anybody, they buy their kid like a full price $60 game. Well, I sure hope they like it. It was $60, so sorry,
70.
kid. Yeah, 70 now. So indie games, the fact that Shanty Pack was able to just gift Brotato to me, or the community Ecto5 gifted Noida to me back when we were streaming, that is fantastic. It's just another reason.
We were streaming that a week ago.
Yeah, maybe. I meant when we were doing the extra live stream, the Spelunky. We did just stream Noida last week, but yeah, I mean, I love that those are in a smaller package, so it is just a little lower commitment, and lower commitment is exactly what a lot of people are looking for right now in whatever they're consuming: games, movies, TV shows. Chris, you're raising your hand.
Yeah, I want to say this before I completely forget about it, because we were just talking about it in some of the games that we're talking about now. Team 17 on Steam is having a publisher sale. It's super rad. Go check it out. There's a lot of good games for really cheap. Dredge is on sale. There's a bunch of good, and they have really awesome little bundles on Steam there too. So go check that out. Team 17, good indie publisher.
Hell yeah.
Overcooked, moving out. What's that called? Moving.
All you can eat?
Moving Out is a game. I think that's the one you're talking about. Yeah, you get two people, you grab each side of the couch, and you try to throw it out the window or whatever.
But it's not like an Overcooked branch off. It's just a...
It is an Overcooked branch off.
Is it really?
I think it's like made by the same team, I think.
I mean,
by the same people.
But is it called like Overcooked : Moving Out though?
No.
Okay, that's what I mean.
And Moving Out 2 is coming. Blasphemous, they did that. Blasphemous 2 is also coming. So they do a lot of good indies.
Hell yeah.
They got a good sale going.
I'm gonna get the Sayonara Wild Hearts trailer going here in a second. That game is an example of a type of game you can beat in one sitting. You can beat that game in about 2 hours, roughly. Start to finish. I played it at my friend's house. He recommended it to me, and he just put the controller in my hand. And that night, we just rolled through the whole thing, and it was great. It was also great as a spectator because the music in that game is wonderful, bright colors, all that good stuff. I'll show you the trailer here in a second. But yeah, to be able to beat a game in one sitting is awesome. Vilos, you kind of did that with Carrion, another great indie. That was 10 hours, so that's more than just a small session. But but 10 hours is like a doable, 1, 2, or 3 session thing for gamers who maybe have like one chunk of time to sit down. Like that's completable. Another one, we've of course played Pentiment on stream. If we weren't playing it with community voices on stream, it would go much, much faster than it has gone. But that game, time to beat online is about 20, maybe 20 or fewer hours to beat, which is totally manageable. Especially if you want to do something weird like we did. Yeah, it's just good stuff. So yeah, you've got Sayonara Wild Hearts that's so short. And here's the trailer for that. Doobie-doobie-doobie-doob. This game rules. You should go play it, and it's not getting any worse. These indies don't really gather dust, so there's never a bad time to play them. But Sayonara Wild Hearts, I think, is on every platform. I think it's on Switch. Annapurna, those guys rule. Lots of big names. I mean, so what you mentioned? Team 117. Is it 117?
Team 17.
Team 17. 117 is Master Chief stuff. Oops. That's not indie at all. We love Devolver here. We love Annapurna. We love, what's the other one that's like Annapurna? Akapura?
Akapura, yeah.
Akapura.
Annapurna also has a publisher sale right now on Steam as well.
Oh, that's the good stuff. So yeah, it's interesting when these publishers, you might have a very small team making a game, but once they get absorbed into these big publishers, that's when you see a lot more of the high-profile games, like Hades, for example, made by Supergiant Games, or what's the who does Tim Schafer work for? Double Fine.
Xbox. Oh.
Not Phil Spencer, Tim Schafer, but you got it.
I mean, technically, yes, though.
Yes, but yes, also yes.
You do.
I forgot about that. Okay, well, I don't know if that changes my argument here, but they were Double Fine was a publishing and developing company that is beloved and people seem to love to work for, which is always something I want to shout out. But they just had so many successful games that they were one of the studios, along with Devolver, who were kind of the first ones where people were like, what does it mean to even be an indie game? If you guys are pumping out these bangers that have all this amazing art and maybe a good story and maybe, any other number of good attributes, it's like at what level? Like that's when people really started to have the conversation of, what the hell is an indie game? And that definition is
the first time that that discussions hit the table too, because I remember when Fez first hit the scene, there was this really big discussion about well, is this really an indie game? Because look how large scale it is, look how polished it is, look at all this stuff. It turned out to be made by 2 people. One of them was Phil Fish, right? And then who turned out to be a real major jackass, by the way. But it was just can we really describe this as an indie game with how big a scale it is? It was games like Braid and Bastion and pretty much anything that Supergiant comes out with.
Yeah.
I always thought that kind of a discussion was really interesting, because how do you define an indie game? Is it by the size of the studio? Is it a genre itself? It's almost the same thing with music. How do you define indie music?
Right.
I would say that Pentiment is most definitely not an indie game.
You think Pentiment is not an indie game?
Well, it's only an indie game after Vespers.
After Vespers.
It's made by Obsidian, which they didn't start working on it until they were already acquired by Xbox.
Yeah, and Obsidian's not that small anyway.
Oh, there's the body we could have examined, but we didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, so I dropped in the.
But it has indie game
aesthetics for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I dropped in the PI Dropbox a link for AI code, and you tell me if it's fucking indie.
Oh, that is not how I thought AI code was going to be spelled at all.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, technically, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
There's stuff like I know we had talked about this before, but like the finals that old Battlefield devs like Crazy Destruction Shooter, that's an indie team. But do we look at that and go, this is an indie game? No. We go, oh, this is a free multiplayer online game that has a bunch of money behind it. We don't think about the fact that it's just, 20 or 30 people.
Yeah. Let's see here. So here's AI code spelled AIKODE. All one word.
Oh, very Japan.
Yeah.
So again, this is one guy, and the only thing that he had mentioned, I think, in the Discord, which is just like this massive community on their Discord. I think he said that he had a few people help him with animating, specifically the cutscenes that you see here, but everything else, when it gets to the gameplay part, it literally might as well be Nier Automata. And he's just himself.
I mean, there's more.
Yeah, see, because like, this is an indie game, but it looks like this. But Pentiment is maybe not an indie game, but looks the way it does. Just not the way that gaming used to be a decade ago. No. You couldn't make a game like this that we're watching. AI code. You could not make that as a one-person team 10 years ago. It just wasn't. It wasn't gonna happen. Let's start that over here.
Definitely.
That's interesting. I didn't know anything about this game. For one person to make that, that's incredible.
I highly recommend looking it up because, like I said, the creator actually got popular because Kotaku did a feature, and then Yoko Taro jumped on and was like, "Hell yeah!" And then everybody's like, "Oh my god, yes!" Like he's totally on board with it. Yeah, it's a really cool story, despite the fact that it's also sad at the same time because, like,
I mean, it features the Japanese death flower. It's going to be sad.
Like, the creator is very open about how detrimental to his health this has been, but it's like, dude, nobody's even asking for you to do this, but all right.
Just chill, bro.
Yeah.
Take a nap.
Chill vibes, dude.
I mean, once you get hit with that, like, passion project bug, and you got to strike while that iron is hot, because the muse is so fickle.
Yeah.
But I really cannot wait for this. It looks so legit.
Yeah. Indie games are tight.
Indie games are tight. I pretty much said my piece. We pretty much nailed the Tears of the Kingdom discussion. Let's see. Let's see if I can run the stream and use my voice at the same time. The answer is no, I can't. Ever.
I think Debbie was wanting to get into Go-Go Town.
Yeah.
A little more.
Let's in the words of the characters from Tricky Towers, yeah, let's go.
Surrender.
Watch out. Dude, Lizzie and I now say surrender to each other in real life, the same way that we say, like, lol. Now, whenever something is just, like, not what you expected, it's always surrender. Which I looked up, I can't remember if I told you this, it is, I believe, the Finnish word for to surprise. Like, it is the verb to surprise.
Well, like, a lot of language in that game, which I think Magica could be considered an indie game, right? A lot of language in that game is just, like, gibberish amalgamation of actual languages and stuff. Like when you and I were playing the last time on stream, Tegan, and we came across that, like, very Japanese based like group of people, and they were speaking like Japanese, I could actually pick up on some of the words they were saying because, I have like Japanese language experience, and I was like, oh, this is weird, because beforehand they were speaking like a whole bunch of like Scandinavian gibberish, and I'm like, oh, that's just actual gibberish. I don't know anything about that. But then that was when it clicked to me that was just like, oh, they're actually scrambling words, but they're still real words. They're just scrambled up. So yeah. I thought that was really interesting. So it doesn't surprise me at all that surrender is the Finnish word for surprise.
Right. And Noida, I learned, is the Finnish word for witch. So that game is just called Witch in Finnish.
Which makes a lot of sense, because you are definitely that.
Yeah.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because you're a wizard, but you're a witch. You're a Noida, Harry.
Yes.
Hello, Alexa. Yes, orbital strike, please. Thank you. All right, cool. No. The only thing I wanted to add more, because this was back when our topic was going to be like our favorite indie game of the year, and that's why I was just going to dive a little bit more into Go-Go Town, because so far, Go-Go Town is basically that. But then I didn't realize a lot of indie games that I've played recently had come out this year also. So like earlier we were talking, I was like, oh, that was this year? Oh, that was this year? Still though, I think Go-Go Town is probably my favorite so far, just because it does scratch that itch that I've been missing since wanting to pick Animal Crossing back up. The only thing is that with Animal Crossing, like I was so far along on my island working on so many different projects. If I booted up the game right now, I wouldn't even know where to start. Like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Like, what am I terraforming? Everything's just going to be a mess. I'd see all the people and I'd just be like, analysis paralysis. So it's like too daunting to like start back up and finish those projects. But then at the same time, I don't want to like start it up and start over, because like then that's everything that I worked so hard on gone, and then you have to collect those recipes and craft everything from scratch.
See,
in that
you
game.
gotta cheese it,
and I don't time travel.
Give all your stuff to a friend, and then restart the game, and then get some of your cool stuff back.
But then your villagers are gonna, be left in the cold waiting to see you, and they're like, I sure hope Sav comes back. It's been
they're in good hands.
Years.
They're in good hands. Look, Isabel only drinks one glass of whiskey every morning. They're fine. I've got the flower ordinance, so none of my flowers are dying.
It's a lot of morning, so like.
I mean, it has been a couple of years, so 365 times. Like, she's up there like, when's the mayor coming back? Except for when the game would be like. But that's what Go-Go Town is for me. It's like, it's something that's new and starting fresh right now. So I still get like my fresh town. I don't have to worry about any current projects. And then when I close the game, it'll reset on its own for the demo purposes. So if there's something I didn't like or something I want to optimize, I can do that with the knowledge I gain. And since it's like not, 3 years into the game like it is on Animal Crossing, I could still kind of have that explorative, like, ooh, what's this? The new thing that I can make kind of feel that you get from Animal Crossing every time you get like a new recipe. You think about the potential that you could do with that recipe and things like that. So, I don't know. I just really like how that comes together, and it gives me something to do that Animal Crossing didn't, which is having the citizens of your town be like useful. Like in Animal Crossing, especially in New Horizons, they're just kind of there to like. It's almost
ask
like wish
for
fulfillment.
Stuff and.
Yeah, well, it's nice that they, that you can do favors for them and everything, but then you get like a t-shirt or like a new recipe that only does something. It's just like, they don't ever do anything besides help you.
Dude, that's
like fill your inventory or something. Like they don't do anything.
Like go give them a t-shirt that they then give you exactly right back.
Right. But then in Go-Go Town,
I was like, when Animal Crossing first came out, I was like, somebody try to kill me or something. It's like, just somebody hurt me. At least even in Stardew Valley, you can go to the mine and get killed by accident,
Well, even
and then
in the old Animal Crossings, people can hurt you just emotionally. They were a lot meaner in the original Animal Crossing. They were so sassy, so snappy, and even like the cute / preppy ones that are supposed to be nice, they could really tear you a new one. And like that's something that I really don't like about New Horizons, that everybody's so homogenized. There's like there's still the 6 different personality types, but they're all super duper homogenized one note personality types, whereas in the older Animal Crossings you still had those 6 archetypes, but within those archetypes they were either like nice, it was like a spectrum, like they were either nicer or meaner, things like that. And I don't know, there was more of a sense of satisfaction in everything that you were doing in the older Animal Crossings. In New Horizons it kind of just feels like after a certain point you're going through the motions, which is kind of sad. But in Go-Go Town, not only can you give your citizens something to do, and I'm assuming that in the full release, because right now they just move to town on their own. Like you don't have to get them to do it. Like you don't have to do anything for them. Like do a favor for them to get them to move in. They're just like, oh, well, since it's a demo, I'm just gonna move here right now. But I imagine that they'll have enough personality to like decline anything that you want to do. In Animal Crossing, you have to basically harass them in order to get them to dislike you for any reason. But it feels like everybody in Go-Go Town actually like has personality, wants, desires, things like that. So I really, really like that. It really does feel like an Animal Crossing / Sims, like little baby. But what I really, really like about this game is going into my personal indie thing, like the topic, is just like the community. I got into this game because someone who I made friends with in the Animal Crossing community was playing this game, and she had posted like a tweet, and I was like, I've seen trailers for this game and stuff, and I just never knew how to get in. So she linked me to the Discord, and then one of the developers gave me a code like right away, and so I was able to play and stream it like the next day. And the way that was the roadmap, that was the pipeline for me to get access to the game. They're just like so welcoming, and like the community, they're just like, oh yeah, come on in, we'll give you code, let's play the game. It's fine. You can still subscribe with that link that I gave you guys earlier. They're always eager and open to feedback. Everything just seems so like intimate and tight knit, and it feels like an actual, I don't know, community in there, like in the Discord and stuff. And you don't really get a lot of that with like AAA titles and stuff. I mean, yeah, you'll have the Discords and Reddits and stuff where people could talk about the game and share media, and there's like a whole zeitgeist about it and everything. But with indie games, especially like niche games like this, it really feels like, you're part of something like really intimate. I don't want to say like a family because I say that a lot, but like it kind of does. It kind of feels like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
like,
I think that's a huge appeal of these games, is you feel like you're going to hang out with your pals,
it kind of gives me the same feel of like our casual, what was it called? Strictly casual meetups where like we just got together and just, jabbered the jaw and whatnot and
Yeah, we
enjoyed it.
jabberwocky, the famous verb for shooting the breeze.
Shooting the breeze, chewing the fat, which I actually don't know where that saying comes from. It's so gross. But like it's not only that though, like the transparency that the developers and small titles like this have, where they want you to know the reasoning behind all the decision making they're doing. They'll update you if anything goes wrong. Wayfinder kind of actually had something like this earlier because Chris, you were talking about how that was coming out. The beta for that was like restarting up this weekend, and they actually had to delay it. And they tagged everybody in the Discord, and they were like, "This is why we're delaying. Blah 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 blah. We're sorry. We appreciate your support. All that stuff." And like, it didn't sound corporate at all. It was like very genuine. And so feedback and transparency like that is like so refreshing. And you really only get that out of like indie studios. Like I can't think of a AAA Discord that has that same feel, or you feel like, you're more than just like a statistic, I'm not saying that they don't exist out there. I just can't think of any right now, which, that's just me.
Hey, Sav, because I love trivia, I looked up where the phrase chew the fat came from. It's technically from a book, but the purpose in 1885, but the purpose is it's back in the day, the like best thing you could eat, like for fun, not for sustenance, was fatty foods, and you chew the fat, which famously takes like a long time to break down. So that would be you just chewing and chewing and chewing and chewing, and that's an analogy to gossiping. So to chew the fat is to gossip. So there's some cool trivia for you. I'm glad I looked that one up, actually.
There's a lot of cool stuff out there like that. Like I recently learned that the phrase "in the limelight" comes from the fact that before there was electricity, how they had like the saloon stages that were all lit up and stuff, was like there's no electricity. How did they do that? So they would do that by burning quicklime, which I can't remember like the actual compound for it, but it has something to do with like carbon or something. So it was called quicklime, and they would burn that. And when they did that, it would cast that illumination onto the stage. And so being in the limelight meant, you were in the quicklime, the light provided by the quicklime. So that's where that comes from.
Man, that's super cool. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I never would have thought to ask
invite, y'all. We're educational.
Yeah, what's up? Well, since we're officially off the rails, I think we can call it a wrap on the indie stuff, if we're all good. Anybody got any final words?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have anything else to say, really. It just feels, that was basically, it was like the community is what makes an indie title for me. The community, I think.
I had Phantom Abyss on my list because that's a game that feels social, even though you're only ever playing by yourself. But it saves other people's phantoms through their runs, so you can see them running around you, even though it's not in real time. And that's a game where I'm like, this makes me feel like I'm playing with a lot of people, even though I'm actually not. It's just a single-player game. But yeah, similar thing. It just kind of uses that social space in a very interesting way. I think you could. It's not an indie thing, but I think a similar thing could be said about in Dark Souls games where you can invade or help people. It's just kind of a non-linear social experience that I think is very novel. It feels really good when it hits right. But, yeah. So. We really love indie games around here, and there's every year there's more to enjoy. It's more accessible every year. There are better versions of games, every year, and there are more ways to play them for cheaper and for shorter amounts of time usually. Whatever, if people say they're not into gaming, that probably means that they've never seen a AAA game that they like. Maybe they think there's, thinking of Call of Duty or Fortnite or something, maybe even God of War or something.
The only people who say they're not into gaming have never tasted one.
And yeah, I feel really that there's a game out there for everybody. And for a lot of those people who don't think it's for them, they need to discover the indie space, because that's where the real weird, fun, experimental stuff can happen, where you can really get into stuff that isn't going to fit a mainstream audience. And that's exactly why it's not going to be for everybody, but there's always something for everyone. So we're always talking about indies all the time. You're going to see some more of that stuff on our website. Vilos, you wrote a backlog post, huh, for the site. Does that exist yet? I mean, I know you're...
Yes, I just dropped the link again in chat for anybody that wants to read that. That's number 8 on the backlog revival series.
Hell yeah. Go check that out. Because we always talk about a whole lot of different games, but indies are always near and dear to us. If there are any indies in the future, in the rest of the year here, we're nearing the halfway point. If there are indies out there that you're really looking forward to, let us know here in chat. You can also hit up our Discord, but you should really visit our website, partyinvite.games, which is going to have links to everything we've got in there. We have a multiplayer community. We have room for people to talk about the single-player games they're playing. And then you can find us here on Twitch, twitch.tv/partyinviteshow, or YouTube to check out all this other stuff we're playing. We play roguelikes on Mondays. We play a game after the podcast each week, which can be... Last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago, we played The Last Case of Benedict Fox, a Metroidvania on Game Pass. Enjoyable, but doesn't quite feel finished yet. Some cool elements, but maybe... what's that?
Unfortunate.
Yeah,
unfortunate.
It was unfortunate. It seems like there's, it could be good with some more time, or maybe if I played more Metroidvanias, I wouldn't find myself so frustrated, because the game really assumes that I have played a lot. So I think that's just kind of what it is. But since I got it on Game Pass, I'm not really upset. There's cool stuff there. But let's see. Let's wrap up here. Thanks everybody for watching our 110th episode. We'll take a short little break, and we'll be back here with You Suck at Parking, a wonderful little indie game, a party game that has recently added multiplayer support. Because before you could only play local multiplayer. We were real excited to play together until we loaded it up, and it was like, sorry, everyone has to be here in my room on my computer to play. That was a no-go. But let's see. Anything else before we go? Anything else to promote? All right, great. We'll be right back, and we'll catch y'all again later.
Get you all on flip.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.